here, which is fantastic because they are literally trying to find a cure 24 hours a day. They're not willing to give up.
Finding Cures, Saving Children. Learn more at stjude.org.
It's time to get up and get your day started. Morant. Oh! A jawbreaker! It's Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports 56 Mornings is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Now, here are your hosts, Greg and Eli.
Welcome in, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Busy show we got planned for you today. It's the Tuesday, October 8th, 2024 edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Elijah Seegers. We're in the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. Yes, the world's biggest spa sale continues. Your final chances, I'm assuming that this thing will wrap up soon, but I've been saying that for about a month. It's going so well, they keep it going. Why not? Take advantage of it. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. And the first hour of the program is brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Coming up on the program today, Connor O'Gara joins us at 7:25 from Saturday Down South to talk all things college football, the crazy weekend that was, and the anticipation for this weekend's games. A lot of good matchups and a lot of ranked versus ranked matchups as well. Brevin Knight at 8:05 will join us, Grizzlies television analyst. The Grizzlies kicked off their preseason slate of games last night with a win in Dallas and a John Morant ankle injury. We'll give you the update in a few moments. At 8:25, we'll be joined in studio by Terrence Lawley, the new senior associate AD for the University of Memphis, the right-hand man for Ed Scott, along with Tim Duncan. They make up the meat of that administration, that new athletic department, the guys that are the movers and the shakers. Terrence is a great young man, and very happy to have him on the show. And hopefully we'll be able to have a Memphis athletic department representative on each and every Tuesday like we have had in the past. We'll take your calls and texts on the Sissy's Log Cabin listener lines at 901-360-8255. As I mentioned, the Grizzlies with their preseason opener last night. We had Monday Night Football to wrap up Week 5 of the NFL season, and a couple of more Major League Baseball playoff games, the American League Divisional Series, all 4 playoff series now even at 1 in the best 3 of 5. Big news from the House settlement versus the NCAA, that whole suit that hopefully will never happen, and it looks like it has taken a major step towards being settled without having to go to court. What it will mean for the future of collegiate sports, we'll go over that on the program today. And it is Tuesday. That means Humdinger's Trivia, and that'll come your way at approximately 8:05 or thereabouts. That's your lineup for today. Kick back, relax, and enjoy. Good morning.
Good morning.
What's going on?
Just watching Milton.
Milton the Monster was a cartoon when I was a kid, and they're calling it Milton the Monster. Here, the weather, not a problem. Even though I know that
Here, the weather is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's going to be beautiful.
Well, I mean, 50 degrees this morning is great for me. I don't know. You probably were crying going out of your house to get in your car.
Not true at all.
No? Okay. 50's all right?
You'll never understand my weather things, but that's okay.
Oh, so what is it? 40? What's your cutoff?
I don't.
My wife's like 70.
It could be whatever it wants in the morning. If it's going to be 75 degrees the whole day, it's great. It's perfect.
So you're looking at the ultimate weather, which is 77 for a high today. Chamber of Commerce weather. Sunshine.
Perfect day.
Sunshine for the foreseeable future. I don't see anything as far as precip for at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 days. But always subject to change. But again, 50 right now as you get your Tuesday morning going, 77 for a high today. Yes, Milton is an absolute monster. And when you hear a quote like this yesterday from the Tampa mayor, Jane Castor, quote, "I can say this without any dramatization whatsoever. If you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you are going to die." End quote. Ouch. So, what is happening with Memphis, the Tigers? We're going to learn something, I think, early today. I know that the powers that be from both the University of South Florida, and, of course, Memphis, along with the American Conference, Commissioner Tim Pernetti. They're all in consultation what to do. I don't think there's a chance this game's going to take place Friday in Tampa. Could it take place Saturday in Tampa? Maybe. But more than likely, this devastation is going to be off the charts. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think this game will end up being moved. I don't know. And we'll talk to Terrence Lawley about this. I don't know if it'll be moved to Memphis. It seems like that's an easy fix. But then do you flip-flop next year, assuming South Florida's on the schedule for Memphis, and then you have 5 away games, and they would have 5 home games in conference? I don't know. But a neutral site is a strong possibility. There's always the possibility of a cancellation. I don't think they're going to go down that road. I think they're going to play this game somewhere. That's just an educated guess. But again, we'll get more information this morning, and we'll see what Terrence can share with us when he joins us in studio at about 8:25.
I like it. Actually, it stuns me that as of Tuesday morning, they still right now have not moved this game.
Me too.
I don't even understand that, quite frankly. Like, you're telling the people of Tampa, get the hell out. But as of right now, you're thinking that, hey, Friday night we'll play a football game here. I just don't. It just doesn't make sense to me that they haven't made this. I would have thought for sure yesterday that they would have been like, no, whatever, come up with whatever plan. But even if you don't have the plan, like, we're not playing the football game Friday night here. It's going to be played somewhere else or on a different day. We're not playing a football game here Friday night.
See, this is when you wonder about the ultimate power of the networks. It is a nationally televised game Friday night is it on regular ESPN, right?
Yeah, I think it's regular ESPN, yeah.
So you're dealing with powerful people. But like I said, there is no way in hell this game's being played Friday night in Tampa. Could it be played Friday night somewhere else? Possibility. Could it be played Saturday in Tampa? Probably not, but you never know, all depending on if it hits and it's not as bad as they think. But they're calling it one of the most powerful storms in history right now, churning in the Gulf and getting stronger and stronger. So Saturday somewhere else, neutral field, I think there's a good possibility. In Memphis, slimmer possibility, but there is that opportunity. But you're right. I mean, you would think while you're talking about this thing, you got to use common sense. And contingency plans all over the place, but you got to go beyond contingency plans. And again, I think there will be a decision sometime this morning of what's going to happen.
The thing is, like, with ESPN, like, I'm going to guess ESPN doesn't want to be sending people to Tampa.
Who knows with networks? Who knows? We need the programming.
Well, again, there are plenty of football games they can find. I don't think ESPN right now is like, no, we want to send people down there to that. Please let us send people to the Hurricane.
Well, they could have stepped up yesterday and said, that game's not happening. And an announcement yesterday by somebody, whether it be the league, whether it by the schools, whether it be by ESPN itself. So, yes, the ball's in their court, too. So, yes, I was a little surprised that nothing came out of yesterday. I think basically the consensus was we're going to give it one more day to see what happens if all of a sudden it does. I don't know. Look, I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not a hurricane predictor. I have no idea. All I know is that sucker's in the Gulf. It's getting stronger and stronger, and it's moving northeast. And then eventually across the state of Florida. So, yes, I was a little surprised. You were a little surprised. Some other people said, it's still maybe a little too early. But I still think networks have a lot to do with this and a lot to say with this. Look, you have to change your travel plans. And if you're playing on a neutral site, that's travel plans that have to be changed for Memphis. And then South Florida has to create travel plans because they were going to be home for this game. So I don't know. Again, Terrence will be with us. We'll talk to him about it. We'll see what he can share with us. But I expect sometime this morning, maybe before we're off the air at 10 o'clock, we will know exactly what's going to happen. But you could bet your bottom dollar this game is not being played Friday night in Tampa. That's the only thing I could tell you for sure, and that's my guess. But it's an educated guess, and I think it's a smart guess. I still give it a low percentage that is played in Tampa, period, Saturday or Sunday. I think it'll end up being neutral site or Memphis. So that's what we have as far as that is concerned. We'll give you all the latest when we get more information. In the meantime, sneaky good Monday in the world of sports with the baseball playoffs, with NFL Monday Night Football, and the Grizzlies opening up their preseason slate, their first of 5 games. As expected, the starters or the projected starters were on the court with the exception of Jaren Jackson Jr., who is injured, not a serious injury, but they'll be cautious with him. And then, of course, you did not have the services of Vince Williams and G.G. Jackson, and they won't be ready for the start of the season. So it was the rookie Zach Edey, Santi Aldama, as we expected, Marcus Smart, Des Bane, John Morant. And there's some highlights from the game that we'll talk about. The Grizzlies win 121-116 if you're scoring at home. But the biggest story, of course, was John Morant, not once, but twice, tweaking his ankle and leaving the game. Now, the second one was after a dunk. He leaves. Everybody holds their collective breath. But then afterwards, we hear from Taylor Jenkins, who said, little tweak of his ankle, minor little tweak of his ankle. And then Ja said, hey, look, it's a preseason game, basically inferring that he would have stayed in the game if it was a regular season game. So, all right, let's all breathe collectively out. Does not seem to be anything serious. But my God, Eli, can they go through a game and not get hurt? Can they go through a practice and not get hurt? Can they walk to the tarmac of an airport and not get hurt? It's scary every time they're out there.
Yeah, I think that's probably the last thing that folks around here, Grizz Nation, wanted to ever possibly see last night is anything about Ja Morant and injury. But yes, good to hear from him saying I'm good. Hopefully that is true, that he is good. Now, I would expect we're probably going to see very little of him the rest of the preseason, which is unfortunate again because the Grizzlies, with this new offense, things they're trying to do, if you don't have Jaren for the preseason, now and if Ja misses a big chunk of the preseason, that has to put you a little bit behind in trying to install the new offense, everything else, those types of things going into the regular season. But nonetheless, as long as Ja is healthy and ready to go for the regular season, that's the important part. And hopefully that will be the case. And hopefully that'll be the case for Jaren, which is expected to be the case with him. So hopefully opening night of the regular season, they can actually have all of their starters healthy and on the court together.
Fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything's crossed. Imaging will take place today for Ja, but again, it does appear, according to Taylor Jenkins, a minor little tweak of the ankle. Now, getting back to that point you just made, we still have not seen any large sample size of Ja, Marcus Smart, Des Bane, and Jaren Jackson Jr. playing together. And you're not going to see that in the preseason. So, yes, the new offense being installed, hopefully it's been a pretty easy transition in practice and at training camp. But we saw a little bit of it last night. And to me, it was more quick ball movement, really moving that ball around at a rapid pace that I liked an awful lot. But other than that, there wasn't really anything that jumped out at me. Now, as far as Zach Edey is concerned, 2 quick fouls right off the bat. He ended up committing 5 fouls, 6 points, 7 rebounds, 1 block. If he gets those early fouls in a game that counts, he's going to be on the bench for a long time. So that's something that he's going to have to learn. He wasn't called for a ton of fouls in his college career, even though he was, a big man and a physical man and is out there blocking shots. But this is all about speed. Guy blows by you, you reach, you're going to get called for the foul. But again, Edey did a few good things. Certainly, he will be learning and getting better as each game progresses.
Yeah, I mean, and last night, he's not having to worry about guarding Luka Doncic or guys like that he's going to have to guard in the regular season in these pick and roll situations.
Yeah, the Mavs didn't play anybody, basically. No Doncic, no Kyrie Irving, a couple other starters weren't in there. But it is what it is. As far as the positives that we saw, well, we did get to see a nice alley-oop from Ja to Edey, so that was nice. Hopefully that's a tandem that'll be clicking a lot this year. Brandon Clark, off the bench, 17 points, 4 assists. Jake LaRavia, who was really good in the Summer League and may get his opportunity with Jackson down and with Vince Williams out. LaRavia, 14 points, 6 rebounds. You got to like that. And then Jalen Wells, the rookie, 13 points in 12 minutes. Shot the ball well. I thought Scottie Pippen Jr. looked good, as he did all summer long. 12 points, 6 assists, 2 of 2 from 3. Ja went 18 minutes before leaving with that second ankle tweak. 13 points, 4 rebounds. Santi Aldama was really good in the starting role. With 19 minutes played, he scored 11 points, had 8 rebounds.
Yeah, Brandon Clark, certainly, it's good to have him healthy. And, he was fantastic, other than the free throw line where he was just 1 for 5. You got to be better than that at the free throw line. Interesting stat from this game. The starters from 3-point range, a combined 2 for 15. The bench, 13 for 26.
Yeah, the bench was hitting those threes, but Des Bain, of course, is the catalyst as far as the starters are concerned, shooting the 3, and Des was 1 for 8. So he was not on top of his game in Game 1 of the preseason. The Grizzlies return to action on Thursday as they will host the Charlotte Hornets. So your first time to see them in action. Of course, Sunday was the open practice, but your first time to see them play in a game, albeit a preseason game. Last night, Monday Night Football, wrapping up week number 5. The Chiefs just keep on doing what they do, and that's win games. They doubled up the Saints 26-13 to improve to 5-0. The Saints dropped to 2-3. Chiefs and the Vikings, the only remaining undefeated teams in the NFL through 5 weeks, they're both 5-0. Derek Carr was hurt late in the game for the Saints, and his status for this next game for New Orleans is up in the air. He'll have some work done today. They'll check on the severity of the injury. As far as the Chiefs are concerned, Pat Mahomes doing Pat Mahomes things, although he did not throw a touchdown and threw a pick, just getting out of trouble, extending plays, making some really good passes. He threw for over 300 yards, but it was basically Worthy with the touchdown and Butker with 4 field goals out of 5 attempts that led the Chiefs to the win. And their defense played extremely well.
Well, it's turn back the clock night. I mean, you got Kareem Hunt going for 100 yards, and you got Juju Smith-Schuster going for 130.
He was really good.
Kansas, it was flat. It was vintage Chiefs. I think it was throwback night apparently for the Chiefs last night, as the guys that used to be good for them came back to be good for them. Kareem Hunt, 27 carries. They picked him up a few weeks ago. I figured he would become their featured guy with Pacheco out. I didn't see 27 carries coming this quickly for Kareem Hunt.
Nor did I, but I still was wondering last week when he played for the first time this year as a Chief after being acquired, how he was not with a team. I don't understand. Kareem Hunt still has a little bit of gas left in that tank, and he showed it last night. And Juju Smith-Schuster took over the game in that second half. Had some big catches and kept drives alive. So, yeah, look, the Chiefs figure it out. I love the animated graphic that they had about the hungry Chiefs and the guys that they were planning on this year, as it was going to be a wide open offense, more downfield passing from Pat Mahomes, more vertical, and then they had the injuries. And then they had an injury to their starting running back in Pacheco. So they have dealt with a lot of injuries the last few years, but they always find guys to step up. They draft Worthy, and he has paid dividends already. They go out and they find Hunt. They picked up Pirine in the offseason. So Kansas City is going to do what they have with that personnel they have. And they're not as vertical as they were going to be because of the key injuries. But they still are effective. Travis Kelce. 2 weeks ago, people were, Travis Kelce, man, he's spending too much time with Taylor Swift. He's not the Kelce. Shut up. They've targeted him now a bunch of times the last 2 games. He's making the catches. He blocks incredibly well. Maybe he doesn't get the credit he deserves for being a great blocker out there. Always has a nose for the chains. Seems to get the first downs. Knows when to get out of bounds. Kelce's still Kelce. And the Chiefs are still the Chiefs.
Well, the lateral play last night was awesome. And we've seen Kelce do that before.
Yes. That was the P-Ryan, right?
Yes. Was that? Yeah. He went through on the third and 22, I believe it was
right.
At that point.
Got him an opportunity to go for it on fourth down.
After a second and 34.
Right.
They end up converting. Well, obviously, I mean, Pacheco, Rashee Rice, like these injuries are, I mean, they've lost massive, important pieces to their offense. But the good thing for them, they still got Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
As long as he's healthy,
right,
running the offense, they could piece stuff around him together. He's just that good.
Later on in the show, we'll get to the baseball playoff games from yesterday, preview the games that are coming up today. Got some possible big news from the PGA Tour. We'll do that. That's all coming up later. When we come back, though, it's all about college football. Connor O'Gara will join us. Lawn Solutions is a locally owned weed control fertilization company that serves the greater Memphis area. They were at my home yesterday taking care of my lawn. They'll take care of your lawn all year long. They'll control the germination of weeds by applying pre-emergence during the winter months and something they call post-emergence during the summer months. This is a great company because there's transparency. If there's an issue, you have any problems, all you do online is go directly to Brandon. He's the owner. It's a family-owned and operated company. You directly hit them up with a message, and they will rectify the situation. They'll fix the problem right away. That's what they do. They want to have that transparency with all their customers. So if you haven't done it yet, you want your lawn taken care of all year long, Lawn Solutions is the company for you. Go online to lawnsolutionsinc.net or call them at 901-867-5626. They can take care of any disease your lawn has, any insect infestation. It's Lawn Solutions. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 at 98.5 FM.
Fall is football at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday is happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft beers, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel bites, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Monday through Friday night lights from 7 to closing. Dine in and buy 12 wings and get 5 regular wings for free. Come watch college football and every pro game on the weekends. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square, Highway 70. Fall is football.
Holidays are coming, and Lowe's is here to help you get ready. Right now, get up to 40% off select home decor to put the finishing touches on every room. The savings don't stop there. Get up to 35% off select major appliances. Plus, save an additional $75 on select cooking appliances, $899 or more. Because Lowe's knows holiday hosting. Valid through 10/16. While supplies last. Selection varies by location. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Getaway Sports Podcast gets here in town. Open noon to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garden, creators, SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago. You'll never miss a minute of action. 10 TVs, 5 70-inch TVs for all the big games. Come up on 6 pool tables. Hold us here in town. You'll still get just $1.
Good morning. It's got a little bit heavier in the last few minutes. Southbound on 51 coming out of Millington down through Woodstock. It's also building inbound on Summer Avenue as traffic increases out here right on schedule on Germantown Parkway right over I-40. It won't be long before that starts to really pick up now on 40 East across the Hernando to Soto Bridge over from West Memphis. Weimer's Jewelry serving the Memphis area for over 40 years. No matter what the occasion is, go by and see them today. Shop local, save a lot of money at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome back, everyone. 7:25, the time, just underway on this Tuesday morning. Lots of things going on in the world of sports. What a Saturday it ended up being in college football. We talked a ton about it yesterday. We're going to continue to talk about it today. On a day when there was just one ranked team versus another ranked team, everything else was one ranked team versus a non-ranked team or two non-ranked teams. It just, on paper, didn't set up for a great weekend. It ended up being an unbelievable college football weekend. Doesn't mean that this upcoming weekend, when there are a lot of ranked versus ranked games, that it won't be another great weekend. And every other Tuesday, we get a chance to talk about it with Connor O'Gara.
It's time to talk some SEC and college football. Joining Greg and Eli is Connor O'Gara from SaturdayDownSouth.com and SaturdayTradition.com. Here's Connor O'Gara with Greg and Eli.
He is the national columnist for Saturday Down South, the host of the Saturday Down South podcast, a Heisman voter. He is our good friend Connor O'Gara, who you can follow on Twitter at CJ O'Gara. Connor, how are you?
Gentlemen, doing all right. A little bit anxious.
I'm sure.
With Hurricane Milton. Yeah, it's an interesting time here in Central Florida because usually we're pretty far inland and we don't have to worry about hurricanes the same way that a lot of others do in the state of Florida. But the path and just the overall power of this hurricane, it definitely has created a different sense of anxiousness for those locals.
Yeah, my sister and my son-in-law, my brother-in-law live in Orlando. And I texted them yesterday, and they said, yeah, we're very concerned. He has a boat, and he brought the boat in, put that boat away from off the lake. And, this is one of those weird ones. Usually those hurricanes come up from the south and go north, right? This one's going northeast. It's going to cross over the state of Florida. So I would imagine a good hunk of the Sunshine State will be in the path.
Yeah, very, very worrisome to see that and how atypical this feels and people that have been in this space, in meteorology, looking at this, not to get too technical with the weather, but some of the things that you're hearing said, not just said out of fear. And that's the most worrisome thing. And I'm, of course, like you're thinking of, family and, trying to make sure your home is protected and all that. But I'm also thinking of what's my wife and I were just talking. She's like, what if we lose power and we don't have power on Saturday? Like, what are you going to end up doing? Because obviously, the college football slate, it does not sleep.
Yeah, that's the thing, like all the power outages and everything else and flooding and all these things. Like, yeah, I feel for folks down there, man, especially for a lot of those folks in Tampa that they've just got hit and now you turn around and going to get hit again. I mean, it's just, I can't even imagine having to live through that and deal with that on the way it's been. It's just been a weird hurricane season, I guess. I don't know. It just feels like we're up here. Like, it feels like it's been a lot worse than normal.
Yeah, it does. It really does. Like 2 weeks ago was bad. This is going to be worse, and we'll brace for the worst of it, and we'll make it through. And that's just that's what we've been programmed to do down here.
Yeah, and not to belabor the point, because obviously the safety, the concern of all the people like yourself, like my sister in Florida, that's of utmost importance. Property and all that stuff as well. Lives, of course, being the most important, but secondary, and I mean way down the list. we're concerned because we're wondering what happens with Memphis in football, right? Memphis is supposed to play at South Florida in Tampa. So right now, we're still on hold. I would imagine we're going to find out early this morning. I don't think there's a chance in hell they're playing in Tampa on Friday. Maybe Saturday, but I don't think even that's possible. So that's on hold right now. But that, again, is low down the totem pole. Okay, let's get to what was an unbelievable Saturday in college football. But let me begin. First of all, Connor has a great podcast, the Saturday Down South podcast. You had a chance to have J.J. Pegues on talking to him. Ole Miss got back to doing Ole Miss things, and they were really good on the defensive side of the football against South Carolina. How was J.J.?
JJ's great. And, for those who kind of know his story, I mean, it's fascinating to see a player that's being allowed to do the things he is. And I mean that in every way possible, because he is a 320-pound man who has become essentially a goal line fullback. I mean, we talk about I'm a Bears fan. I know the stories of Refrigerator Perry. Mm-hmm. This is not that. That was a let's have fun and let's see what this can be. J.J. Pegues played offense throughout his high school career and was this football unicorn playing for Chris Cutcliffe at Oxford High. And he came along at a time with a coach who empowered him to be able to have what they call this cannonball package. And so what he was doing back in the day, and he would occasionally split out wide and play receiver, and he was, came into college and went to Auburn as a tight end. He wanted to play offense. And so this is a guy who has been around now for a while. This is year 5 of his college experience, and he has become such an important player for what they're doing, not only to be able to convert some of these drives and get touchdowns at the goal line, but he's on what may be the best defensive line in college football, and that's just such a rare thing to say about an Ole Miss defense.
The efficiency on Saturday was great. I mean, 2 carries, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns. Can't beat that.
Love it. I mean, look, he is chomping at the bit to be able to get a throw. He just wants to throw a pass. Let him throw out of that one, because he's gotten to catch passes before. He got to catch one, I think it was a couple of years ago, going into the end zone. But if he could throw out of the Wildcat, that would be the last thing on his college football bucket list.
The Alabama upset loss to Vanderbilt, obviously crazy. Nobody saw this coming, especially giving up 40 points. Did Vanderbilt expose some things about this Alabama defense?
Absolutely. It wasn't a fluke. The overall result obviously is fluky for all the the obvious facts of Vanderbilt never beat the number 1 team. They had never beat a top 5 team in 60 attempts, and this loss was one of those things that if you told someone in the preseason this was going to happen, they'd have they'd have your head examined. They just would. So from that standpoint, it's fluky. But if you actually look at the way that this played out, I mean, it's not. Vanderbilt controlled this entire game. Bama never led in this football game. Vanderbilt converts 12 of 18 third downs, and they convert their only 4th down attempt, which was a beautiful pass that dropped from heaven by Diego Pavia into the end zone to make it a 2-score game late. That was the moment where you said, oh, this is happening. And it was Alabama who had to make these unbelievable, ridiculous plays, like Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams, that were making these spectacular plays just to keep pace. And what Vanderbilt did to that Alabama defense, I mean, Malachi Moore, his day kind of encapsulated the frustration and the disconnect for Alabama. And there's a lot of other ways you can go with that, but Vanderbilt was the better football team. And it was very evident throughout this game. And yes, they definitely exposed some things that Alabama has struggled with dating back to pretty much coming out of the halftime break of that Georgia game.
So with the loss for Alabama, where do things stand right now as you look forward to the rest, or they look forward to the rest of the season with Kalen DeBoer, with the fan base? I'm sure there's a lot of irate people. I know Feinbaum had a field day with those guys. I mean, is this a large blip on the radar, or, again, like you just talked about, there are some issues defensively? Where do they go from here?
Yeah, there are some real issues defensively. I mean, that can be. I mean, we saw it with LSU last year. You can have a historically great offense with a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback and still go 8-4. I mean, that's not out of the realm of possibility. They need to be able to figure some things out on the back end, because Nick Saban himself was the one who didn't pick Alabama to go to the SEC championship because of the concerns he had in their secondary. And you saw that very much play out. They didn't have any gap discipline whatsoever. And it was really a nightmare showing for Kane Womack in this defense. And that to me is going to be the biggest issue moving forward is how do they rectify that? Because, offensively, I think they're going to be fine. I mean, they have the guys to troubleshoot that. But this is a schedule that's not really very forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those years where Alabama's going to have to figure some of these things out on the road. They're going to go to tougher venues than 28,000 fans at Vanderbilt. That probably 25,000 of them are Bama fans. Like, they're going to go to tougher places, and they're going to have to figure out these defensive issues without it necessarily crumbling. And that to me is the bigger issue, even in an era where there's more grace in the 12-team playoff.
Well, while they try to figure out their defense, in a couple of weeks, they'll be at Tennessee. Tennessee, since getting into SEC play, 2 games, 39 total points, and they only put up 14 against Arkansas. What are the issues with Josh Heupel's offense?
Yeah, it really, Ole Miss and Tennessee both, you can almost now look back at their starts with the competition that they played and go, maybe we got a little bit too ahead of ourselves with the competition that they were facing, with the things that they were doing at will offensively. Because, it's been a struggle, and that's something I'm writing about for tomorrow for Saturday Down South. It's like, this is a true funk that Tennessee's offense is in that Josh Heupel-led teams typically don't go through. I watched that game play out on Saturday, and yes, the injuries to the receivers definitely played a part in it, and you could tell that Nico was so out of sorts at the end where he just runs out of bounds that, he was so out of it that he didn't feel like he could find that guy that he just trusted to be able to lock in on and complete a pass, and that's a problem. But, I think they need to be even more run-heavy right now. Dylan Sampson's been fine. Yeah. Dylan Sampson's a great player, and I think they need to lean on him a bit more and try and utilize that backfield depth. I know it's not at the place that it's been in years past under Josh Heupel with their running backs that they trust, but I think they need to lean into that even more as they figure out these passing issues, because it's very evident right now that this is a team that cannot carve you apart with the passing game, and they cannot drive down the field. Travis Williams deserves so much credit for that, the Arkansas defensive coordinator, because that was a masterful game plan to be able to frustrate a redshirt freshman quarterback in his second career road start. So I do give that Arkansas defense a lot of credit. But, Tennessee's in a true funk, and there's no guarantee that they get out of it this weekend against Florida.
Yeah, it was a good weekend for the meek, if you will, from Saturday, or who we perceived as the meek. Arkansas certainly could be undefeated, so I don't know if they're in that category, but the much maligned Sam Pittman with the big dub. Of course, Vanderbilt has played pretty well despite the loss to Georgia State, and they pull off the shocker of the world. So there's the Clark Lee win, and then the triumphant with Billy Napier, the much maligned one, and Florida playing a very solid football game on both sides of the ball in knocking off UCF.
Stunning to see the way that played out. Look, this Florida defense gave us no signs of life whatsoever. They allowed, 240-something sack-adjusted rushing yards to Mississippi State, a team that was averaging, I think, 49 rushing yards against FBS competition. Even coming off the bye, I still expected Florida to struggle mightily with the number one non-service academy rushing attack that UCF was bringing into the swamp. Mm-hmm. That's why UCF was favored to win that game. And instead, Florida found those answers on the defensive side of the ball, something that I didn't expect to be able to say about Ron Roberts and Austin Armstrong in that defense, and it was much improved. That's the good news. The bad news is Florida was shut out in the second half of that game, and offensively, I think they could still have some issues. I still would not trust them playing in a shootout necessarily, and I don't really consider the game against Mississippi State a shootout. They let them back in the game to make it a shootout, but I do think that this is a Florida team that at least feels good about the direction of this defense, and that's positive. They could have easily gotten walloped and lost that game by double digits, but instead they showed some gap discipline and showed that, hey, they have not given up on this season. And who knows? I mean, crazier things have happened. Crazier things happened last weekend. Florida beating Tennessee certainly would not qualify as crazy for the 21st standard of that rivalry.
We got some fantastic matchups this week. We get the Red River rivalry. Looks like Quinn Ewers will be back for Texas. We've seen some crazy things happen in that matchup. You never know with this rivalry, but do you expect any issues for Texas against Oklahoma?
Never say never, because I thought last year Brent Venables, the things that he did early on in that game to force 2 Quinn Ewers interceptions in the first 5 minutes, that was huge. I mean, there was a difference in the game because Quinn Ewers played pretty masterfully. I mean, he had a fumble coming out of the break in that one as well that he lost, and it was a game in which the turnover battle definitely determined it, and Texas loses that football game. But, this is definitely the best defense that Texas has faced this year, and I'm including Michigan in that category. And so what does it look like against a group that we saw frustrate Tennessee, and we saw this group have a lot of success so far early in the season? Now, they let Peyton Thorne throw for a lot of yards, but they've been really good at forcing takeaways. They've been really good at getting into the backfield, and this is going to be a difficult test. The year 3 Brent Venables defense is, I think, looking the part so far. So how does Quinn Ewers handle that? How does this Texas rushing attack, which has been a little bit touch and go, it's been obviously really banged up at the start of the season, how do they figure things out and navigate this? Texas is the last undefeated team in the SEC. They have a true chance to beat Oklahoma and set themselves up in such a great spot to control their path to Atlanta. And this game is such a monumental part of it. Quinn Ewers, I'm calling it Red River redemption for him. I know he won the first matchup he had against them, but still, it's a grudge match. So it is a huge, huge showdown in the Cotton Bowl on Saturday.
Connor O'Gara from Saturday Down South joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. Another big one this weekend, Ole Miss and LSU. We just talked about Ole Miss, your interview with J.J. Pegues, how they were able to bounce back nicely at South Carolina, play incredibly well defensively. Big challenge in the Bayou against LSU. And one really, quite frankly, I think Ole Miss, even though they're the road team, really has to win.
Absolutely. I don't think if Ole Miss loses this game, I'm very, very skeptical that they're going to make the college football playoff.
Right.
And you could tell me, hey, you can still go 10-2 and make it. Yes, I agree, and they could still beat Georgia in theory. But to me, this would show that you're not running the table the rest of the way. And I said that last week about South Carolina, and I loved that response from Ole Miss. I love that they won that game that way, with physicality, with handling that South Carolina pass rush, by being able to not necessarily scheme all these unbelievable looks and just say, you know what, we're going to be the aggressors here. We're going to control how things are going to go, and we're going to let our defense do the dirty work. And it did. And I think in this game that's so important because you're going against those future first-round tackles on the outside with Will Campbell and Emory Jones Jr., and Garrett Nussmeier has been really phenomenal this year. I mean, he's been one of the 3 best quarterbacks, I think, in the SEC, and he's been one of the best quarterbacks in all of college football. Getting to him is so important for this Ole Miss defense. This is going to show us whether or not this Ole Miss team is ready for the big time or not. Because if you are, you win this game, you move past the Kentucky loss, and all of a sudden we're right back to those same preseason conversations. If not, we're going, wow, 1-2 in SEC play. You still got Georgia coming up. Maybe this playoff thing isn't exactly lining up for Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And the conversation continues about, will Lane Kiffin take the Florida job?
Right.
Yep. Nationally, Ohio State, Oregon, massive game in the Big Ten. How do you see that one going, and is this the first of at least 2 matchups between the two this year?
Yeah, I think yes and yes. I think that this is a matchup that, look, Ohio State has to win this. They just do, because some of those regular season conversations about Ryan Day are a little bit silly when you consider, like, this guy has only lost to Michigan in the Big Ten. And if you start losing to some of these other better coaches, then all of a sudden it makes those Ohio State people go, I wonder if the grass is greener on the other side without Ryan Day. Now, I do think that they play Oregon twice. I think they beat Oregon twice. I think you've seen some issues so far at the offensive line spot for Oregon that I think Ohio State should be able to take advantage of. And, this 2-headed rushing attack should be able to have success. They should be. And that's why you went out and you got a Quinshon Judkins for the grind that awaits in a potential 16 or 17 game season to pair with TreVeyon Henderson. So I do think that Ohio State should be the better team. I think they should win this football game. But you're right. I mean, they could very easily face again in a couple of months, and that could be the more important game.
All right, final thing for you. What did you think about your good buddy Diego Pavia posting his agent's phone number on social media for any NIL inquiries?
Man, look, when the iron, you got to strike when the iron's hot.
That's right.
Like, look, and I wish I could call Diego Pavia a friend. I was working to set up an interview with him about a month ago, and then it fell apart right after the Georgia State loss. So I would love to be able to circle back to that when he's not doing, the Dan Patrick show and whatnot. But look, I don't blame him. get what you can, because I don't know if people realize this, and I don't know if you guys picked up on this. That dude's not taller than 5'8". There's no way he is taller than 5'8". People are like, oh, he looks like Johnny Manziel out there. No. Johnny Manziel is like 4 inches taller than this dude and was at least considered a first-round prospect. We know what happened to Johnny in the NFL, but this is it. Like, this is it for Diego Pavia. And I don't mean to sound like a skeptic and to bet against him, but nobody in the NFL is looking at that guy going, oh, yeah, he's going to be ready to play. He's 5'8". Get all of those opportunities right now. This might be the best moment of your college career. I mean, we should never doubt that. The guy's the first quarterback in the last 20 years to win 3 games as a 21-point dog. I mean, that's an unbelievable feat. But, yeah, I mean, go get what you can, man. I have no issues with that whatsoever.
My theory is that Pavia, along with a guy I watched firsthand, Blake Horvath, the quarterback for Navy, are so short that the defense can't see them. And that's why they're so effective. They get behind the center. Even if they're in shotgun, you're like, where'd the quarterback go? So I'm sticking with that theory, man. Those little guys, that's why they're so effective, because the defense can't find them.
Yeah, I'm 5'8". This might just be a moment for us 5'8" guys. And Wan'Dale Robinson's doing some things in the NFL. Like, I remember when I met Wan'Dale at Kentucky a few years ago, and he was listed at like 5'11", and I stood eye to eye with him. And I'm like, buddy, we're going to have some conversations when you get to the NFL Combine. People realize you're 3 inches shorter than what you're listed as. But, yeah, good for Diego Pavia. Good for all the short kings everywhere.
Yeah, you know what? You need to get on the SDS website, get them to list you at 6 foot.
I think I've had enough. I've had enough on the record statements about my height that would probably get a little bit of pushback. But if people were in on the joke, it'd be worth it.
Hey, listen, stay safe down there. All right, we'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
Gentlemen, appreciate it.
Thanks, Connor.
Yeah, I can't. Again, he lives obviously, as he said, more inland. But it's one of the reasons I would never move to Florida. You couldn't pay me to live in Florida.
Really?
No.
I've always said to my wife, let's retire in Florida.
I love visiting Florida, love the beaches, all that stuff, but I just wouldn't want to have to live that life of when these things start popping up this time of year, and they just may start coming back to back, and you're just like, well, gosh, when does it end?
Yeah, we didn't go through what Florida goes through, but when I was growing up, I mean, Atlantic City right on the coast got hit a couple of times with major hurricanes. When I was really, really little, got drilled with a big one, so you never know.
Genesis Diamonds. Go see the folks at Genesis for all your jewelry needs. If you're thinking about getting engaged, want a beautiful engagement ring from one of the best designers out there, go see the folks at Genesis. They've got all of those top designers, plus an amazing selection of diamonds, all sizes, all shapes, whatever it is that you're looking for. They're going to have you. They got natural diamonds. They got lab-grown diamonds. They can explain the difference between those, what you should be looking for, what affects price, all of the different things. They will educate you to make you a smarter shopper when it comes to buying jewelry, and make you be able to and help you pick out that perfect engagement ring that she's going to be so proud to wear. You can find them at Poplar and Perkins Extended. But beyond the engagement rings, of course, any jewelry that you need, including the pre-owned Rolex watches. Whether you're looking for something special for someone else, or maybe you're looking for something special for yourself, go see the folks at Genesis Diamonds.
You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11, here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
For life's spectacular moments, only a real diamond will do. At Sissy's Log Cabin, you'll discover a brilliant selection of natural diamonds, along with our promise of unmatched quality and service. The only real diamond is a natural diamond from Sissy's. Find yours when you stop by any of our 6 locations or shop online at sissyslogcabin.com. Discover the natural diamond of your dreams only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Paid for by Hims & Hers Health. Hims & Hers Weight Loss is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Restrictions at 4hers.com apply. Wegovy and Ozempic are not compounded.
Everyone's talking about the breakthrough of weight loss drugs. With Hers, you can access doctor-trusted weight loss plans online, like compounded GLP-1 weekly injections with the same active ingredient as Ozempic and Wegovy, all for as low as $199 a month with a 12-month plan paid up front. Get started at 4hers.com/afford today. That's 4hers.com/afford. Ford.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa sale. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure. Witten Road at I-40. Family and fun come together.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate, Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, Plumbing, and Generators. Right now, we're offering our Choate's Comfort and Safety Special. For a limited time, when you purchase a $99 tune-up, or if Choate's performs a repair, you'll receive a free 1-year standard fan plan membership at $400 value. Keep your home safe, comfortable, and running smoothly all year long with 2 maintenance visits, priority service, and discounts on future repairs. And for our existing loyal fan plan members, we have something special just for you. Enjoy a $1,000 loyalty coupon toward any new generator, tankless water heater, or HVAC system. It's our way of saying thank you for trusting us with your home. Add value, add comfort, and add safety to your home with Choates. Call us today at 347-8086 or visit ChoatesHVAC.com. Choates, let our family serve your family.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
So not 30 seconds after we hung up the phone with Connor O'Gara, breaking news from Athens, Georgia. Georgia wide receiver Colby Young arrested on charges of battery and assault on an unborn child.
Yeah.
Georgia, which has been in the news so many different times for vehicular arrests, or at least charges, now this one even worse. So that is breaking from Athens. Dogs 247 reporting that. I didn't get a chance, by the way, to ask Connor about Malachi Moore. What did you think about that? And he's apologized for his antics on the field. He's a captain of the team, and he's been criticized by former Alabama Crimson Tide players that you can't. That's not the way you act as a leader. You can't do what you did. And again, he's very apologetic for it, but kind of lost his mind there.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things, and a lot of people say like that's stuff that and Barrett talked about it yesterday. Like that's just something you don't believe you'd ever see under Nick Saban. So it's like, okay, is this what does this truly mean? He's you certainly from your captains, 5th-year guys, you would expect better than that. Well, yes, he's apologetic. But you would expect that guys in that position wouldn't be doing those types of things. Hopefully he's learned from it, whatever. They say he's not going to be suspended or anything for his actions. But yeah, not a good look for one of your captains to be doing that.
The opposite of shock and awe and surprise would be the announcement yesterday that Shams is moving to ESPN and will replace Woj as their NBA insider. Just floored by that news.
I believe I said it on the air when Woj left, and that's probably what would happen.
You did. You weren't the only one, believe me.
Yeah, it's just obvious. Like it was known that he was leaving the Athletic, and it was so. Yeah, not exactly a real surprise.
Yeah, I said yesterday if he didn't scoop his own story, then he's off to a bad start at ESPN. But Shams will do a magnificent job. His first Shams bomb was the Wendell Carter news, who got an extension, 3-year extension, and a lot of money to play and continue to play for years to come with the Orlando Magic. We'll get to the Major League Baseball games a little bit later on in the show. We'll also talk about the big news yesterday from the California judge preliminary approval of the House settlement. Lots to get to. The PGA Tour is seriously considering significant changes to its field and exemption structure, according to a report that's out there. Field sizes would be reduced as well, and the number of players who are fully exempt each year, they believe, would lead to increased competition and competitiveness. So it's almost going down that live avenue where less is better. So we'll see if that ends up transpiring with reduced fields for PGA events.
Yep, they continue to tinker with things and try and figure out what's the best thing, I guess, to make their players happy and make sponsors happy and everybody else happy. For television in there as well. But, they are continuing to look at things and try and figure it out.
Right now, a regular full field is what? 152?
156, I believe
156. Again, you cut that down, and I don't know what we're talking about here. You cut it down to 100 or whatever. I think it's good. It's not good for those players, but I think it's good. I don't think your tournament is hurt by a bunch of guys who, and I'm not saying those guys at the bottom end up being the ones that miss the cut, but the point is you have a hunk of players who don't make the cut. Who cares? And I'm not saying to get rid of the cut, but it doesn't affect going to an event. For example, here in Memphis, we have the best of the best because it's a playoff event, but it's a limited field. I don't think there's too many people screaming that, oh, let's go back to 156 and have a regular tour event. I mean, there may be a few out there that want to see, the bottom rung guys, but guys that still are great golfers and have their tour card, when they can watch the best of the best, meaning every time a group comes to a tee box, these are significant players. So I think it only helps, but it's also a lot of similarity to what's going on with LIV. And it goes back to, why can't they figure something out with the DP Tour, with PIF, with the PGA Tour? We keep seeing that they're friendly, they've talked before, they are going to talk again, but yet they can't come close to an agreement to try to get these two sides together and finalize something.
Hour number one of the program brought to you by the Big Green Egg. Best grill there is. Last grill you'll ever need to buy. That is the Big Green Egg. BigGreenEgg.com has all the details. But you could check it out, see it in person, and purchase your own egg right here in town at the Ace Hardware stores. They carry the Big Green Egg. Hamilton Fireplace carries the Big Green Egg. Not only the egg and all the different sizes of the egg, but all the egg accessories, including the sauces and rubs and the charcoal, all of the things that the folks at the Big Green Egg make. They have everything you could possibly need to produce that great food off the grill with the Big Green Egg.
Coming up, hour number two, we'll be busy. We'll begin with Humdinger's Trivia. Then Brevin Knight joins us as we talk Grizzlies. That'll be followed up by Terrence Lawley from the University of Memphis. He'll join us in studio. We'll get the latest on what's happening with the Memphis-South Florida football game, everything else in the University of Memphis athletic world. That's coming up at about 8:25, so stay tuned for that. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Floors and More invite you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
The success you've had in life matters. The late nights, the extra shifts, the moments you've stood up and said, I've got this. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we value your achievements because we're a school for real life. With UMGC, You can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and life and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. We offer scholarships, affordable tuition, and online and hybrid classes, all with the support you need from your first day to graduation day and beyond. As an accredited state university, we've been transforming lives for over 75 years. Choose from more than 135 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates and get ready to succeed again. Are you ready to take the next step in your life and education at University of Maryland Global Campus? Now is the perfect time with classes starting October 16th. Apply today and put your goals within reach. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. A couple of accidents out here the last 15, 20 minutes right now. We're watching it build in the normal spots coming down I-40 westbound here at Germantown Parkway as you work your way down the interstate here on I-40 west to Sycamore View Road. A little bit of traffic there inbound on Summer Avenue. Still moving right now to South Haven on the Interstate 55 northbound all the way up to passing State Line Road. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry serving the Memphis area for well over 40 years. No matter what the occasion is that's coming up, check with them first. You'll save a lot of money by shopping local here at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is Original Sports Station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis.
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
Don't you just love it?
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:01 the time, hour number 2 here on Sports 56 Mornings. The Tuesday, October 8th, 2024 edition. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Elijah Seegers. We're broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, it's where family and fun come together. 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. Currently 54 degrees. It will get up to 77 today. That's it. Sunshine, beautiful day. Then tonight, your overnight low, 51, clear skies and sun for the next, 8 or 9 days. As far as my forecast goes on my phone, that's as much sun as we have. Looks like it'll be a terrific run, and it always is in the best month of the year, October. Hour 2 is brought to you by the great folks at Gaddis, James Gaddis Jewelers. We'll tell you more about them a little bit later on in the hour, but it's Tuesday. That means it's time for Humdinger's Trivia.
That's right. Opportunity for somebody out there to win a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers. You can go to humdingersrestaurant.com to check out that wonderful menu. Of course, on Tuesdays, it's Taco Tuesday at Humdingers. Their chicken and fish tacos, just $2 each. That's all day, each and every Tuesday. That you could take advantage of that. But if it's not a Tuesday, or still not interested in the tacos today, well, they got plenty of other items that you could choose from on that menu. Great selection of appetizers like the crispy calamari or the wings or the crab cakes or the Humdinger's shrimp. Of course, on the entree menu, you got all those great grilled fish options to choose from. They've got the sauteed piri-piri chicken. You can get crispy fish and chips, all kinds of great things that you can enjoy over at Humdinger's. Some great sandwiches, salads, all the great sides. You get the toppings on that grilled fish as well. Just absolutely delicious stuff, healthy stuff that you'll find as well over at Humdinger's, located at Poplar and Massey in the shopping center there. Just absolutely fantastic food produced all the time by the folks at Humdinger's. And if you need an event catered, Great option for that as well. You can get information about catering on the website by going to humdingersrestaurant.com. If you can answer today's trivia question correctly and be the first to do so, well, then you get a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers. All you got to do is text in your answers at 901-360-8255, 901-360-8255. Text in the answers, and again, the first correct answer gets the $25 gift certificate to Humdingers. Here is today's question. With Alabama losing to Vanderbilt over the weekend as the number one ranked team in the AP poll, and of course Vanderbilt unranked, who was the last school to lose a game as the number one team in the AP poll to an unranked opponent, but then go on to win the national championship? Who was the last school to do it? Don't have to have even the year or win. Last school to lose to an unranked opponent as the number one ranked team in the AP poll, but then go on to win the national championship.
Thought-provoking.
360-8255, 360-8255. Text in those answers. And the first correct answer gets the $25 gift certificate to Humdingers.
All right, Brevin Knight scheduled to join us here in the next moment or so. We open the show talking Grizzlies as they beat the Mavs last night, but the most important thing that came out of that was Ja tweaking his ankle. Does not appear to be serious. We saw the debut of one Zach Edey and the debut of the new Grizzlies offense. By the way, real quick before Brevin joins us, 2 notes from yesterday. 2 things that I did not know were still happening. Number 1, I did not know Chris Berman still does that 2-minute. I thought Chris Berman was retired. So I had no idea. Ran into that. And number 2, Bob Costas still does baseball games.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
Mm-hmm. Been doing them.
No, I know he was doing it for forever and ever. Boy, did he catch a lot of grief yesterday for whatever reason on social media. Bias and things of that nature. But no, I didn't know he was still doing those games. It's funny. It's like every game I watch, I guess I don't watch the games that he's broadcasting, but flipped on the Yankees game, and there it was. Bob Costas doing the game. Of course, the Yankees last night falling at home to Kansas City, and Detroit blanking Cleveland 3-0. So you have all 4 divisional round series now even at 1. Best 3 of 5.
Good stuff. Got 1-1s all around, and obviously the road teams in each one did what they wanted to do, go in, they get the split, and now they get to go back home and see what happens.
Mentioned Terrence Lally is going to join us a little bit later on at about 8:25 from the University of Memphis, their senior associate AD. Hopefully we'll get a little more information, although as of this moment, 8:06 a.m. Central Time, Tuesday morning, October 8th, nothing has been decided yet on what the Tigers will do in their game scheduled for Friday night at South Florida. As I said in hour 1, I cannot see this happening on Friday night in Tampa. Maybe Saturday in Tampa, but I doubt that. What are the contingency plans? Is it a neutral site? Will South Florida come to Memphis? Those things are being figured out. I think we'll get an announcement sometime early this morning. Obviously, South Florida officials, Memphis officials, Tim Pernetti and the American Conference, ESPN, I'm sure they're all right now discussing the situation because Memphis having coming off the bye week, and South Florida also coming off the bye week doesn't give you a lot of opportunities to squeeze in a game of that importance later on in the year. And certainly you don't want a cancellation. You certainly want to play this game if you can within reason. But in Tampa, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't. Again, I just don't even understand why we've gotten this far into it without at least that part of it. Like, you're telling people to leave a city. It seems weird to say, but on Friday we hope you'll come to our city to play a football game.
Exactly. Yeah. First of all, the travel, not only for the teams but for the families of those players. What it's going to be like with the flooding. That people have to understand that it's not just the impact, the immediacy of the hurricane hitting. It's what is left, what destruction is left in its wake, and picking up the pieces from that point on. right? The hurricane will roll through in, I don't know, 2 hours, hour, whatever it is. But then it's everything that's left behind. How can you expect to play a football game? And you said earlier that you didn't believe that, or you believe that they should have made some decision yesterday. And I said, look, anytime you're involving, this is a nationally televised game on Friday and programming and all that. And, networks, they care about one thing, the almighty dollar, the programming and all that stuff. But when you have so much at stake as far as lives and property damage and things of that nature, this is not important in the least. Now, for the football team, for the coaches, for the administrators of the school, it's important because they want to know where they go from here. For the league, in rescheduling and things of that nature, I understand that importance. But in the scheme of things, in life, certainly, it pales in comparison to what those Floridians are now facing.
Well, the thing is, you don't there could be massive power. You may not, they may not have power for days.
They may use Raymond James Stadium. They may use Raymond James Stadium as a place for people to go to who don't have power, a staging area, if you will. All right. As promised, he is the terrific Grizzlies television analyst who's getting ready for another season. It begins Thursday night, as I believe they'll have the call of the preseason game against the Charlotte Hornets. He's a 12-year NBA point guard, a Stanford graduate, and a future member of the Champions Tour. He is the one and only Brevin Knight. You can follow him on Twitter at Brevin Knight 22, and he joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Mr. Knight, how are you?
No.
We're doing good. We're doing good. How about your G-Men getting a win in Seattle?
How about that? Nope.
Oh. Brad, we're going to have to reconnect. Right now, it just doesn't sound good. Sounds like you're in a tunnel. We'll reconnect with Brevin Knight and get that all straight
Check
down.
to see if he's could get a better signal there, Elijah. That's what happens when the Giants get a win. It's so rare, can't even talk about it.
It's like he sounds like I know he's here, but it sounds like he's in the Lincoln Tunnel in New York. Of course, he grew up not far from there in New Jersey, a fellow Jerseyan like myself. Yeah, I believe Thursday it will be on. Is it Bally? Is it still Bally's?
Yeah. Yeah, they're doing 3 of the preseason games. They're doing Thursday, then they're doing the Monday game on the road, and then they will do the game a week from Friday, I believe, are the 3 preseason games that they'll be doing for the television broadcast.
Okay, I think we have Brevin now. Brev, you there?
Is that better?
That's a
better.
lot. That's a lot better. Yeah. So how about them G-Men getting that win in Seattle?
Yeah. Well, the thing is I was upset that we are 2-3, but really, if you think about it, we lost the kicker against the Commanders. We couldn't kick. You scored touchdowns, but you couldn't kick any extra points. Couldn't kick field goals. And then you lose a game where you have no defense plays fantastic. You only make field goals. So it has been a season where a almost win, so that puts us closer. But you turn around and say, "Listen, you go on the road and win." The good thing I liked about it was, hopefully, even when Neighbors comes back, when Singletary comes back, we'll spread the ball around more. Felt like the only thing David Jones was doing was still locked into one receiver. They wasn't using the entire team, and so used everybody. So it was a fun win.
Who was that game you could only kick field goals? Who was that lost to?
I can't remember. Sorry, some sorry team that just somehow just pulls rabbits out of the hat somehow, some way. As they did it against the Steelers just the other night.
Well, last night on the court, the Grizzlies for the first time in the preseason opener, I said this to start the show, we all held our collective breath as Ja not once but twice came out of the game. But according to Taylor Jenkins and according to Ja himself, not a serious injury. Looks like a minor tweak to his ankle. But my gosh, Brev, every game the Grizzlies seem to be dealing with injuries, which certainly worries everyone after the year they had last year.
Yeah, and it's something that, injuries have always played a part in the game, but when you go through as injury riddled of a season as they had last year, then everything puts you on notice. You already have Gigi in his position, the position he's in. You already have Vince in the position that he's in, and Jaron sitting out with what happened with the hamstring earlier in camp. And so to see, Ja, the ball hit his foot, the only good thing for me is when they showed it again, it didn't fully roll over. And then that allowed him to come back into the game, and then probably just didn't feel steady with it. And so why push it in a preseason game? And so, yes, I think for all of these games, until we get started, we'll probably all be holding our breath collectively that this team is able to get through this preseason and at least look somewhat like themselves. Of course, two rotation guys will be out, but you don't want any more.
And that's the thing with them, with the I guess installing this new offense and that they're wanting to do. If obviously get Jaron's out, if Ja doesn't play much, if at all, the rest of the preseason, how much do you think that sets them back in trying to put that new offense in?
Well, if you're not able to have the reps with the guys, then of course there's a natural setback. The thing I think they will lean on is the fact that these guys have been together so long, and so at least they know how to play with one another. And so you can, for lack of a better term, you can dumb down your offense to allow your players to play, and then just continue to add little bits and pieces as the season goes along if they're not able to put enough in at this point. But the reality, Eli, this is something that I've said for a long time. Training camp is too short. Mm-hmm. And every time you do these short training camps, and then you tell people to then go play basketball right away, or we're going to pick it up right. It's not enough time for guys to get their bodies ready to play. It's not enough time for coaches to instill anything that you want to do new. So all of this, these preseason games, the beginning of the season, all of those are in essence training camp time, and then basketball starts from there. So will they miss some? Yes, but I think everybody is in this new schedule of how do you get your guys ready to play, instill things with such little time.
Overall, Brevin, I watched last night and I saw a lot of quick ball movement, a lot more passes on every possession. Is that what we're basically going to see with this new offense? Like, what did you see, although just game one, what did you see from this new offense?
That everyone's got to be in great condition. That's the biggest thing, is because with the pace at which they would like to play, when people start to fatigue, it's not just physical fatigue, but it becomes mental fatigue. And so now if you're trying to instill stuff that is new, what happens is guys will fall back to what they're accustomed to doing and what's normal to them. And so I think if guys are in a tip-top condition, then what they're trying to get across in terms of the changes can be executed that way. But the biggest thing I took away from is guys got to be in shape, because, I mean, the ball goes in, it's out. There's not a designated ball handler every time. There's not a designated take the ball out guys. What it looked like, there may be some guys that they want to do it, but the ball is inbounds and up the court. The ball moves. So as long as guys are in shape and ready to go, then it's a style of play that they can do, and it's nice to have the depth that they have to be able to do it.
You mentioned with the training camp. What do you think? How should training camp be, I guess? And I know it was a lot longer when you were playing, but what would you like to see from the training camp and number of preseason games?
Well, extend the training camp enough so that, number one, you're able to get work in, and also it's also, guys, you got to break bodies down to then build them back up to get going for a season. You're still in the breaking down phase while you're starting games.
Yeah.
And so then as you go through that, then your body has to now get ready to play 82 games. Can't go to training camp for 3 days, 4 days, and then say, let's go play games. There we go. It's unrealistic to think that teams, number one, can be ready in terms of scheming what you want to do, and then also be ready physically to play the game to be at the best. The new way of thinking of less is better has not bared out in any way in terms of injuries have gone down.
Do you remember when you were playing, like how long from the start of camp till you would play your first preseason game?
We were at 2 weeks at least.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was on the short. I mean, literally, you would be by the 4th or 5th day, like you couldn't walk. We still go to camp. You tailor it back, but then by day 8, 9, you're back to 10. Now you're back feeling like, okay, now I'm ready to play.
Mm-hmm.
This for 3-4 days and then play basketball, unrealistic if you're expecting teams to be good at the start of the year.
Brevin Knight joining us on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. With the early season injuries to Gigi Jackson and Vince Williams, and again, nothing like season-long injuries, just won't be ready for the early portion of the season. The door opens up more for who?
Jake LaRavia. And I am excited to see how he continues to take advantage of it. Last year was a big step for him in terms of, number one, being relatively healthy. And then because of the injuries, he had an opportunity to be on the floor. And we saw a lot of good things from Jake, more than just making threes. I was happy for he and Luke Kennard that they could have more of an identity than just stand out there and make threes, because you don't want to limit what you do. It makes it that much easier for people to say you're not good. And I thought that's what was happening to Jake LaRavia, is that we put him in a box of he's going to be the three-point shooter, but he has a lot more to his game. And so we've been able to see that, and even in this first preseason game, he picked up right where he left off. And so I think for anyone, these will be huge moments for him moving forward.
Zach Edey last night, again, it's one preseason game, and the Mavericks didn't have guys like Luka out there who can really challenge you, especially in a pick-and-roll type situation. But what did you see and what did you think of Edey in game number one?
I thought they did a lot of switching in pick-and-roll situations with him, and I thought he did as good a job as you can ask a 7'4" guy to do playing against guards, which is based on his best possible, make them make one or two moves, not just a straight line drive. And that was good. Later on, we saw him make a post move that was absolutely fantastic. Caught the ball on the left block, one dribble to the middle, jump hook. I would love to see them continue to use that as part of the arsenal, because the thing about it, once he goes to sweep that little jump hook, he was being defended by a 7'5" guy last night, and that guy didn't bother the shot at all when he went to shoot it. So I think that's an area where they can continue to explore with him. But it was just good to see. No, for me we saw him finish a game. So the game started and the game ended, and he walked off the floor with the team. That was, to me, it was as much of a positive as anything.
That's true, because summer league that did not happen. Do you think Scottie Pippen Jr. How do you see him maybe getting minutes, or do you expect the combination of Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane to really kind of fill the backup point guard minutes? How do you expect the minutes, Ja's not on the floor, who gets those minutes?
I think it all depends on how the lineup starts, how they start the game. If they start all three of those guys together, then you see Scottie Pippen Jr. having an impact and being in a rotation, especially where the team is right now. I thought that, again, last night, he was impactful. What he has been able to do in this short time with the Grizzlies is affect the game every time he's on the floor. And a lot of that is from the defensive standpoint, in terms of the pressure that he's able to put on opposing guards. But then on the offensive end, just continue to get better with time and score. Should I be aggressive? Should someone get the basketball? I think all of those areas continue to get better. And so because of it, I see him being a part of this, but if he stays on, I think he's still a two-way contract. Then that means that we're again playing the play him now sometimes, don't play it. That comes into play. So if he stays in that role, then his role can only be one in which it is hampered in somewhat because the games are what they are. He can only be there. Now if they convert it, then we can see him be more of a regular to the rotation.
From one point guard to another point guard to you being a former point guard, I'm sure that it was bittersweet to hear the news about Derrick Rose. I'm sure you had a chance to really get to know him a lot better this past season and being a part of the team, and a former NBA MVP deciding to hang it up. I think surprised a lot of people, but you can't say enough good things in the accolades I read about what Derrick Rose meant to the NBA, to the association.
Well, everybody can, as you just said, you can go on and read the accolades. I was a fan from afar for a lot of years and impressed with how he played the game. But I had an opportunity this year to get to know a different Derrick Rose. And for that, it will be forever impactful for me, because the thing is, he has lived and been through a lot in his short lifespan. Yeah. And I mean, he's got so many more years to live, and so the health of himself moving forward. He finally took that as being paramount. We think we saw last year, it was not for lack of effort. It was just sometimes the body tells you that I can only do so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what happened with Derek. But he was always such a positive influence on this team, even in the injury-riddled season that it was. He was a bright spot for all of those young guys. And so for that, I give him the ultimate credit. But just to have the opportunity to talk to him in the weight room, away from the court, was special to me.
Was your training camp long enough? Are you ready to go Thursday night?
Oh, listen, my training camp has been on 6 months. Shoot, I've been ready to go since we stopped.
These guys are mid-season form, first game. They don't need any training camp.
I figured Pete was whipping you into shape. He was getting ready to go. He's getting your pull muscles for you Thursday night.
I've been in broadcast camp since this time getting ready, but I tell you this much: Thursday will be good, but when we play Orlando opening night, that will be that much better. So hopefully we will have enough people out there yell and cheer. Yeah, we want people to watch at home, but for first night, everybody get on out to the arena, man, so we can have some fun. Welcome our guys back.
I picture Pete and Brev down on the banks of the Mississippi River, and Pete's got Brevin with the big tree trunk on his back, and he's in Rocky style getting ready.
Pete's wearing the real short coach's shorts, too. I can just feel it. I can just see it.
With the whistle, absolutely.
With the whistle and the clipboard, man.
Absolutely.
And he got videos up there to say, I better know what that call should be.
Oh, my God.
That's what he's been on me about. I better understand the call.
Best broadcast team in the NBA. They've been doing it for quite some time. They're a well-oiled machine. He is Brevin Knight, Grizzlies television analyst, 12-year NBA point guard, Stanford graduate, future Champions Tour golfer. You can follow him on Twitter at BrevinKnight22. Always a pleasure, Brev. Looking forward to seeing you in person.
Yeah, I'll see you in person. And we're going to talk more than 3 times this year, too. I'm not playing. I'll come to the studio on my own if it doesn't happen.
Oh, we got that on tape now, so we'll definitely hold you to it. Thanks, Brev.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
We do have a winner in our Humdingers trivia. Again, the question was, who was the last school to lose as the number 1 team in the AP poll to an unranked team and then go on to win the national championship anyway? And that would be, happened in 2007. That would be the LSU Tigers, who lost that year to Arkansas 50-48, but then went on to win the national championship. And the commonality there, that was Les Miles, a coach who replaced Nick Saban and then did that. Now, it was year 3 for him. Could Kalen DeBoer do it as a replacement for Nick Saban in year number 1? We will be contacting our winner and letting you know how to get your prize. You get a $25 gift certificate to Humdingers.
Once again, Hour 2 brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers, your family's jeweler at 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. If you need something appraised, bring it on in to James. James is a certified appraiser. He's a diamondologist and graded by the Gemologist Institute of America, he tried to say. He's got all the credentials that you want in your jeweler. They are full-service jewelers with 2 bench jewelers ready to serve you. All their diamonds are independently graded and certified. They know there's a lot of competition out there, so they make sure they have a price point to suit everyone's budget. So whether it be a beautiful engagement ring, wedding ring, personally designed wedding sets, or all their other fine jewelry, like watches and bracelets, necklaces and earrings, pendants, plus that one-of-a-kind estate and vintage jewelry, it has to be James Gaddis Jewelers, 4900 Poplar between Mendenhall and St. Nick, and on the web at gaddisjewelers.com. When we come back, Terrence Lawley, Senior Associate AD for the University of Memphis, joins us in studio. You're tuned in to Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa set. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some Diesel owners know if you take care of your engine, it'll return the favor. Hot Shot secret formulates additives that help you prevent problems and boost performance. Diesel Extreme cleans internal and external injector deposits. And EDT increases fuel economy by up to 7.3%. Scientifically proven by third-party testing. Add Hot Shot secret at your next fill-up to get the most out of your diesel. Available nationwide at truck stops, farm and automotive stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret. Powered by science.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Sports 56 traffic.
Trying to get in from Fayette County now into Shelby County. So some would say right on schedule, actually, over here on 40 westbound. As you work your way past Germantown Parkway up to Sycamore View Road, it's loading up with some more volume on Billmorris Parkway westbound as you come past Riverdale, headed up to 240. Coming up from the south, not bad, actually, on 55 northbound up through South Haven. Weimer's Jewelry, serving the Memphis area now for over 40 years. No matter what the occasion is, go by and see them, shop local, save a lot of money at Weimer's Jewelry. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers.
To reveal the full spectrum, this dazzling color.
Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 8:31 the time, halfway home on this Tuesday edition of Sports 56 Mornings. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, and Elijah Seegers broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. Lots going on over at the University of Memphis, and it has certainly been a whirlwind for the new administration, which haven't been in place for that long, and just a lot of things happening, including the whole PAC situation. Now, of course, it's Memphis football this week. Will they play? Will they not play? Where will they play? We are very pleased to be joined by the Senior Associate Athletic Director of Integrated Communications and the Chief of Staff of the University of Memphis, Terrence Lolly, who joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Terrence, how are you? Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Greg and Eli. Thank you for having me. A pleasure to be here this morning, and happy to be here in Memphis and supporting the Tigers.
Before we talk about your history and how you got to Memphis and your relationship with Dr. Scott, obviously people want to know right now what's happening with football, because this storm is not getting any weaker. It's only gaining strength and headed right toward that Tampa area. It just seems on the surface that will unlikely happen in Tampa and unlikely happen Friday. So I know communications have been going on. Where do we stand?
Yes, thank you, Greg. So we've been in communication with the American Athletic Conference and the University of South Florida since this weekend, and they're consistently monitoring the situation going on in Tampa. Obviously, the airports have been shut down in Tampa for a couple days as the storm is building in the Gulf Coast. And so we're in constant communication, monitoring the situation, and so we're waiting for some updates from the conference that should be, provided to the public in the near future so that we can make the proper adjustments. But the key for us is the health and safety of our student athletes and making sure that they're taken care of, and so we're not flying into a storm or there's any issues with the University of South Florida and their team as well. And so I know Dr. Scott has been in communication with both the league and the University of South Florida, and so we're anticipating a decision to be made here shortly.
In the end, is the final decision, does it lie on the conference to make the final decision, or is it just kind of a joint thing between all of you?
Well, I think we all work together, right? So there's a lot of different factors and moving pieces that go into a football game each week, right? And so we want to make sure that, everything's taken into consideration. But being a league game, that is pivotal to the decision as well. And both institutions wanted to make sure they get the game in and it is not canceled so that, you can have that into your record for the end of the year. And so if you looked at the Appalachian State Liberty game a couple weeks ago where obviously Hurricane Helene impacted that game and had to be canceled, that was a non-conference game, right? So that had a little different implications. So to your question, Eli, it starts with the conference because ultimately they have to work through another different channels with the ESPN game was supposed to be on national TV on Friday. And so they have to work through a couple different hurdles with that as well. And so it's a group decision, but obviously being an American Athletic Conference game, it has additional implications.
That was going to be my next question. How much of a factor is it that you're talking about a network? This was a primetime game for Friday night, not a Saturday game where there's a million games going on. Obviously, ESPN doesn't want to put people in the way of a storm of that magnitude, but certainly they're looking at their bottom line as well. So how much do they factor into this, or is this strictly going to be an American Conference decision?
Well, I think that's part of the discussions that the conference has with the network to let them know that obviously there's a major storm coming into to the Tampa area and being monitored twice a day, basically getting update weather reports from USF and their team down there. So they have to take that into consideration. Ultimately, they want to put a good product out there. And so if it's not feasible to be playing the game on Friday, then we have to make those adjustments accordingly. And so they would have those discussions and see what other opportunities they are to adjust the game if necessary.
Is everything on the table? In other words, could the game be played in Memphis? Obviously, neutral site. Game on Friday, game on Saturday, maybe even a game on Sunday. Is everything on the table right now?
I think both administrations and the leagues are looking at all options. You have to do your due diligence in these situations and see what you can do. Again, it was the best interest of the health and safety of our student athletes and the staffs that are traveling with to support these student athletes. And so I believe every option is on the table so that the game can be played. Ultimately, that is the goal of Dr. Sky and our administration, is to play this game and to make sure that it can be done in a healthy and safe way. So that is the ultimate goal, is to play the game, and I believe all options are on the table.
So you've been here a little over a month now, and you guys are coming in at a time in college athletics where there's seemingly a million things going on, including at the University of Memphis. Have you been able to, has your head stopped spinning yet to even know where you are? I can't even imagine what it's been like in that month.
Yeah, it's like Greg said in the open, it's been a whirlwind, but it's been great. Fully embraced by the community, loving the 901. I've been told a number of times, if you love Memphis, Memphis will love you back. And so I'm pouring everything I have into this job. My relationship with Dr. Scott goes back 15 years. And so working for someone like him and working with him is something that I ultimately wanted to do again. And so our previously relationships at a couple different institutions has led me to this point. And so, yeah, just trying to get my bearings underneath me, find a place to live, get my wife into town, and kind of feel like you have a normal routine. But obviously the athletics industry is a constant one. And so it's keeping me quite busy every single day, either events going on campus or different events off campus. We have the groundbreaking for the new student housing complex over on the Park Ave campus going on this morning at 10 a.m. So Tim Duncan, our new senior deputy athletic director, will be representing us there, as Dr. Scott is at a leadership symposium speaking today as well. So we're all out doing our own parts to make sure that we're supporting the Memphis community and our student athletes at the University of Memphis. But it's been great so far. Was at the radio show for Coach Silverfield last night, and just seeing everyone who's consistently there, Donna Humphreys and folks like that we get to see every single week, kind of gives you that motivation and that energy that you need to sustain it every single day. And so, yeah, just trying to figure out, my day-to-day and how I can support my team and our communications and marketing and ticketing staff to make sure that, we're putting our best foot forward and we're consistently, supporting our student athletes because they deserve that.
You come from Morgan State in Baltimore, which I'm very familiar with, having covered Delaware State and Maryland Eastern Shore for 10 years when I started in television, so I know all about the MEAC and 1AA. But what is the difference for you when you climb from that 1AA to an FBS school like Memphis, obviously with a prominent historic basketball program and a football program on the rise? What are the differences from that job to this job?
I mean, I think when we talk about intercollegiate athletics, everyone has similar issues and problems. Are just different scopes and sizes. And so what I'm seeing here is obviously the scope and size is larger, right? And so, dealing with the different multitude of factors that come into play on a day-to-day basis and seeing how we can continue to grow and support the momentum that the institution has had. And so just understanding, how your role fits into the department and how you can support the department and the teams on a regular basis, and ultimately the student athletes. And so taking everything that I've learned throughout my different stops to understand, hey, it's the same business on the day-to-day level, but there's a different scope to it. And so we want to make sure that I understand that, and that going into it, that everybody's wants to support the University of Memphis here in the 901. And so we want to really cultivate that and galvanize the community. And so when you step into a new role, you always want to take some time to assess the situation and see what's going on a day-to-day basis and how you can then implement kind of your vision and how you want to go. And so we got to build alignment with the university and make sure we're aligned with Dr. Hargrave's vision, and then take that from Dr. Scott and execute it in the athletic department on a day in and day out basis.
You mentioned your relationship with Dr. Scott goes back 15 years. Did you see with Dr. Scott that he was going to be a rising star in this industry? And what is it about him that makes him the demand for this job and to lead this athletic department?
Yeah, absolutely. So we met when I worked at Binghamton University, and I was in the communications department, and he was one of our senior athletic administrators, and he was just selected for the NCAA baseball selection committee in the Northeast region, which obviously is not the heavily competed baseball region in the country. And so at 32, that was a big step when he was on the search committee with folks like Dan Guerrero, who's the AD at UCLA, or Ross Bork, who was at Ole Miss at the time, Cunningham from UNC. And so he had all these titans of the athletics industry in these rooms, and he was able to build some of these relationships at that point in time that are still lasting to this day. But I wanted to do a story on him because he got selected to that NCAA baseball selection committee, which was a big deal, I think, for someone at early in their career at a young age, and who was not an athletic director like some of these other representatives. And so he was a Division I baseball player at the University at Albany, and so his experience allowed him to get into that room. And so we went out to lunch one day, and I had my notepad and just had a bunch of questions, and we hit it off from there. He actually went to college with someone I played high school football with, so we had a connection right from the jump. And so we started playing golf, and from there it was history. So it was just someone that you saw had the same passion and drive as you had on a day in and day out basis. And he's a grinder, and he loves to work, he loves to compete. And I think that's why he's the right person for the job, because he has the vision and he can see where Memphis can be and where we can take it, because obviously the history that Greg alluded to with the basketball and now the momentum that football has generated over the past 10 plus years is something that's very exciting. And so I think this job is at the right time for Dr. Scott, and hopefully we can build the right team around him to be successful on a day in and day out basis.
And I appreciate his transparency and the transparency so far from this athletic department. Terrence Lally is joining us. He's the Senior Associate AD for the University of Memphis. Has only been here since Labor Day and has walked into so many different things that are going on. You talked about the project over on South Campus, which is terrific. They're moving on that very nicely. I'll try to go rapid fire here. A few more questions for you before we let you go. And you may have an answer. You may not have an answer. Obviously, Dr. Scott met with the media when the decision was made at this time for the University of Memphis to say thanks but no thanks to the offer from the PAC. The PAC continues to do their thing, and it looks like now they're going to start to talk to possible media rights partners to see what kind of package they can put together. Do you believe that they could come back to you guys for another offer?
I mean, I think anything could possibly happen. I don't want to speculate about what the Pack is doing because I'm obviously not in those conversations and not knowing what they're doing. But obviously, if I was in their shoes, that I would continue to try to fulfill the 8 FBS members that I would need to be an FBS conference.
Right.
And so I think that is obviously in their foresight to make a decision on what they can do to be an actual conference, because until they get those 8 football playing members, it'll be difficult for them to then, go on and get maybe that automatic qualifier as a Power 5 gets, or even to be the highest ranked group of 5 or possibly 6 schools or 6 conferences from that standpoint. So I don't want to speculate on what they may be doing because I'm not in those conversations, but I think for them that they would be working towards that.
You have a huge event coming up on the 15th at FedEx Forum, a doubleheader basketball exhibition games, Memphis and North Carolina, Memphis and South Carolina. It benefits St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Not yet a sellout. This needs to be a sellout. It's for obviously an amazing cause. This is a big event for you guys and something that may happen hopefully annually in the future, and maybe even a regular season tournament. So if you wouldn't mind speaking on the importance of getting that place sold out and obviously making a lot of money for St. Jude.
Absolutely. No, thank you, Greg. And this is a wonderful opportunity to come on here and promote that. It's 1 week out. So next Tuesday night, please come out to the FedEx Forum and support, a great cause, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. All proceeds from the ticket sales will go to St. Jude. And so we want to make sure that it's an awesome event that can turn into an annual event each year and hopefully be a regular season contest and draw some of the best programs in the country, like the University of North Carolina men's basketball team and the defending national champion University of South Carolina women's basketball team. And they're both going to be coming in this weekend and visiting with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Our men's team was just there yesterday. Our women's basketball team was there visiting last Thursday. And so we need the whole 901 support. We need everyone to go out there and buy tickets, buy some tickets to give away to folks. You can go to stjude.org to buy tickets or gotigersgo.com/St. Jude Tix, TIX, to purchase tickets as well. We want to make sure it's a phenomenal event. It's been something that the previous administration has been putting together for well over a year, and we have awesome partners, and we're just really excited to have this opportunity to do something really special for the community and for St. Jude and the Children's Research Hospital. And so we really want to make sure it's a great event for everyone to enjoy. And so anything you can do to support the event, please come out, please support, please scream and cheer and have a great time. And make sure that you're bringing anyone you can. Grab mom, your aunt, your grandma, your everybody you can bring to the event. Please come out and support it. We're 1 week out, and we need the whole 901 support.
I will spare you a question because this is a complicated issue that we'll get to next time. But the next time we will talk about it. Obviously, the news yesterday that could lead to revenue sharing and what the University of Memphis plans to do. That'll be coming up in the future, that discussion, which is certainly a serious discussion. But, Terrence, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Obviously, I've met you before, but to have you on our show, we really appreciate it. Look forward to working with you guys, hopefully on a weekly basis, as we've done in the past with members of the administration.
No, thank you, Greg and Eli. I appreciate the opportunity. And then once more, just want to plug the St. Jude's game. Please go to stjude.org and buy up some tickets and come out and see great basketball to kick off the season and get your first looks at the men's and women's Tigers basketball team. So thank you, Greg and Eli.
You are welcome. Terrence Lally, the Senior Associate AD at the University of Memphis.
Mid-South Ag Equipment, for all those equipment needs, go to see the folks at Mid-South Ag Equipment, midsouthag.com, the website. You can find them at 3044 Highway 302. That's Goodman Road. It's just south of Collierville. If you take I-269 to the Goodman Road exit, they're right there just a half mile west. They've got the Case IH Farmall series of tractors, bush hog equipment. They've got new equipment, used equipment. They could service your equipment. Whatever it is, all your equipment needs are taken care of at one place. That's Mid-South Ag Equipment. They've been doing it for a long time. Go see them for all your equipment needs at Mid-South Ag Equipment.
All right, when we come back, it looks like we have an update on the game, and I'll ask Terrence during the break to make sure that this is confirmed. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Summer may be over, but yard work, it goes on. Don't worry, Colonial Hardware makes it easy for you. Colonial Hardware has all the lawn and garden tools you need from the best brands in the business. Ferris, Snapper, Husqvarna, Toro, Echo, Shindaiwa, and Billigo. Servicing most brands of
Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Monday through Friday, it's happy hour from 3 to 6 with $1 off all draft beers, $5 off well drinks, $4.50 for house wine, and half off pretzel bites, mozzarella sticks, queso, corn dogs, and pickles. Then do Friday night lights from 7 to closing. Dine in and buy 12 wings and get 5 regular wings for free. Come watch college football and every pro game on the weekend. All at the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland, Town Square. Highway 70, Falls Football.
When you're working outdoors, unpredictability is the norm, so tackle your toughest jobs with the 2025 Honda Pioneer 700. This rugged side-by-side brings power to any party with reliable torque for towing and smooth, shifting-free trails. And you can choose between 3 trails, Standard, Deluxe, or the True Timber Force Edition, equipped for ultimate backwoods adventures. See the 2025 Honda Pioneer 700 today at Deseto Honda, 5656 Newman Road in Old Branch. Your safety means
Now, back to Sports 56 Mornings.
Isn't it a lovely morning?
On Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by James Gaddis Jewelers. Here once again, Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everybody. 8:50 is the time. Wasn't able to get it confirmed during the break from Terrence, but the report is now that the game will absolutely, like I said, there's no way they're playing this game on Friday in Tampa. The game is going to get moved to Saturday, according to reports. The game will get moved to Saturday. Where it's played is still up in the air. It probably will not be Tampa, but it could be any venue in Florida. Who knows? I guess. Still could possibly come to Memphis. All options are still there, but it does appear that they'll make some sort of announcement today that the game will not take place Friday. There's just no way. By the way, at 9:25, Mike Seidel is going to join us on the program. You know him from all those years at the Weather Channel, basically that number 2 guy behind Jim Cantore. He's now with Fox News. Mike Seidel on the Storm, and you'll get his thoughts on, if that game is moved to, I don't know, Orlando or Miami or wherever, will that be able to take place? Because, again, this storm is not going south to north. It's going basically northeast and will cross over the entire state. Yeah, it's, again, I can't imagine you could still have a game planned for Tampa. Just because, again, you don't know what will be the effects that it has and flooding and power outages and all that stuff to have an idea of like, oh, no, yeah, by Saturday it'll be fine or whatever. So we'll see what they can come up with. I know it's not easy, obviously, logistically, to try and move a football game and all of the things, all the moving parts that go with it. But hopefully they're able to figure out some sort of, you certainly want to get the game played. That's, as you said, especially with it being a conference game, you definitely want to get the game played, and hopefully they'll be able to figure out the way to do that. Yeah, and Pete Thamel now reporting, according to his sources, again, according to my sources, maybe the same sources, who knows, that the game will be moved to Saturday because of Hurricane Milton. But again, game time Saturday still to be determined. The site, I would imagine, as we just talked about, still to be determined. They're hoping in a perfect world, Tampa and the Tampa area is spared, where it's not devastation and, like you said, loss of electricity and flooding and things of that nature, where Raymond James is used basically as a shelter. If that happens, it's not even a question that you're not playing there, let alone maybe other venues in Florida. But again, if somehow, some way, this monster storm, which is one of the strongest storms on record to this point, doesn't do that type of damage, then I guess technically they could play Saturday, probably later in the day. But we don't know yet. That has not been determined. But what has been determined, according to sources, is that the game will be moved to Saturday. Definitely will not take place on Friday. The Ross Dellinger has just dropped a story, and I'm trying to read through it here, about another new plan for really the future of college football, which is being termed Project Rudy. Project Rudy? Rudy.
Smash Capital, who is a venture capital and private equity firm. This is from them, and they are apparently this has been presented to ADs and some of the conference commissioners as well. They're talking about throwing around a lot of money.
Are they related to PIF?
$9 billion is one of the numbers in here. So I'm trying to get, but it's a 70-team super league, but they say the conferences will stay intact.
This is the Jackie Sherrill model from years ago when he said it on Sports 56. That one day there would be basically 4 power conferences doing their own thing. If you're talking about 70 teams, you're talking at least 3 conferences.
Interestingly enough, one of the people now that is I don't know what exactly his role is, but apparently Jack Swarbrick now is working with these folks from Smash Capital.
How about that? Notre Dame's Jack Swarbrick.
There's more that I've got to read here about exactly what the plan is. But yeah, they're talking. Apparently, they have shown this to commissioners, ADs. Some ADs have seen it. They've got this slide presentation that I guess that Dellinger has seen or obtained. They've had phone calls. They've had Zoom calls.
Sankey hasn't crumbled it up yet and thrown it away?
He's one of the commissioners, apparently, that has seen it. He has seen it. The Big Ten commissioner has not, but SEC, Big 12, and ACC commissioners have seen this presentation, according to Dellinger.
Well, we'll talk more about that to open up hour number 3, and then we'll get into the story that came down yesterday as we are a step closer to revenue sharing in college football. Then at 9:25, an update on Hurricane Milton with Mike Seidel, friend of mine from way back. You know him from the Weather Channel. He's now with Fox News. Mike Seidel will join us, and then we'll get into the baseball playoffs, the 2 games from yesterday, the 2 games on the docket for today. I told you, I didn't lie to you, that it was going to be a very busy show. We appreciate Brevin Knight and Terrence Lawley for joining us there in hour 2, Connor O'Gara in hour number 1. Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration for all your roofing and home repair needs. Call Brandon McCullough at 901-438-5084 or go online to newroofmemphis.com. They offer financing with different plans and options to choose from, including a 6, 12, even an 18-month same as cash option. They'll work with your insurance company or out of pocket, whatever it takes to get that new roof or that roof repaired. Pinnacle is part of the Roofs for Troops program. Any veteran, active, or retired get a $250 rebate on the purchase of a new roof. They do residential and commercial roofing. So not only for homeowners, but for property managers, business owners. If you have a leak or any other problem with your roof, call Brandon today. They'll come out and do a free roof inspection. They're licensed, bonded, and insured, and a member of the Better Business Bureau. You get a 5-year labor warranty on the purchase of a new roof. All their work, satisfaction guaranteed. That includes the restoration part, like the carpentry work they do, exterior painting, replace gutters, put up fencing, siding. They can install shingles, rotten wood repair, all the work around the home that you can't do. Call the experts at Pinnacle Roofing and Restoration. For all your roofing and home repair needs, call Brandon. Tell him you heard it here on Sports 56 Mornings, 901-438-5084 or online at newroofmemphis.com. Hour 3 on the way. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
They're taking care of business in Memphis right on the river with Grind City Brewing and all of their great products. Look, this was a dream come true for a father and son duo. And if you have not been to that brewery right on the river, just to the north of downtown, you're really missing something special. And now you can't miss their product. Wherever you go, you see a brand new label. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's distinctive. You'll know Grind City Brewing, and of course you know their products like Poppy's Pills, that great Pilsner, or Tiger Tail, that very creative craft malt liquor. There's the new Thaddeus Amber Lager. That is absolutely a great light beer. There's the India Pale called Godhopper. It's outstanding. And then there's the Belga, the Belgian-style wheat ale. They keep bringing hits at Grind City Brewing.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Family Leisure is having the world's biggest spa set. It's happening right now. You can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs that are ready to be delivered. Family Leisure has spas that start at just $28.99. You know those cold plunges? You can get one for yourself starting at $39.99. Or how about swim spas? They start at $17,499. Plus, Family Leisure has set up special financing just for this event. Have you been sitting on the fence about an above-ground pool? Get off that fence and get to Family Leisure to take advantage of huge discounts on all their in-stock above-ground pools. And if you need some patio furniture, it's all priced to move out now. It's not too late to have some summer fun, courtesy of Family Leisure. But you better hurry up. The world's biggest spa sale might go on forever. Family Leisure. Whitten Road at I-40. Family and fun come together.
Need good food fast? You need 901 Eats to Go in Bartlett. Meat in two sides. Chicken wings and tenders, cheeseburger, Philly cheesesteak, even catfish, plus sides and drinks. 901 Eats to Go has everything you want when you want it at prices you can afford. Call 901-417-8232. Pick up, DoorDash, Uber Eats, or online at 901eats.com. That's Eats with a Z. Delicious and convenient. 901 Eats to Go. 3135 Kirby Witten Road in Bartlett. Good food fast.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in town Memphis.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good morning. There is still some volume making its way down I-40 westbound over here around 269 Chambers Chapel, Canada Road coming in from Fayette County. It remains a little bit busy there southbound. Austin P Highway getting up on that ramp there to I-40. Still moving right now in the Midtown area on 240 northbound at Lamar. If you'd like to help out the Hurricane Helene flood victims in Tennessee and western North Carolina, you can donate right now at the American Red Cross. Just log on to redcross.org. That's redcross.org. Help make a difference. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus. Weekday afternoons from 3 to 6. Now back to Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. And once again, Barbara Gaston and Eli Support.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:03 the time. Greg Gaston, Eli Savoy, Elijah Seegers, broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studios. Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. They're located at 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. 58 degrees. We'll get up to 77 today. Sunshine. Should be an absolutely beautiful day. And then 51 degrees, clear skies for your overnight low. Okay, so news from the American Conference that just broke. The Tigers football game against South Florida has been rescheduled to Saturday at 3:30 Eastern in Tampa. So they still expect to play that game in Tampa despite Hurricane Milton approaching Florida with the expected hit of the coastline, I guess, tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. But the game has been moved from Friday to Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central Time kickoff. The Tigers and South Florida. It's still wishful thinking, isn't it?
I don't know what the options are and all of that, but I'm amazed that they're trying to play this game in Tampa.
Again, Mike Seidel, formerly of the Weather Channel, you've seen him for years and years, now with Fox News. He joins us at 9:25. One of the experts in meteorology. He is going to let us know what he thinks when we pose that question to him. Does he believe that everything will be back to, no, I'm not going to say normal, but where you can play a football game on Saturday in Tampa? He'll join us again at 9:25. Third hour of the program is brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More, a family-owned and operated local business that specializes in flooring and carpeting. If you want to save money, get great product, terrific people, this is the place for you. They have all that in one store. They have the new showroom and warehouse open in Horn Lake at 2356 Goodman Road. They also have stores in Cleveland, Mississippi, and in Little Rock, Arkansas. Ceramic and porcelain tiles, hardwoods by Portercraft, carpeting from Southern Luxury Carpet, backsplashes for your kitchens and bathrooms. They sell it wholesale. Skip the middleman, save you lots of money in the process. Whether you're a homeowner, you're going to do it yourself. Whether you're a contractor, you work commercially, do yourself a favor, see what Jenkins Floors and More has to offer. And if you can't do it yourself and you don't want to do it yourself, let the experts at Jenkins do it for you. They promise wherever you are. So it makes sense to call Jenkins at 662-469-9350 or go see them. Open Monday through Saturday in Horn Lake at 2356 Goodman Road. It's Jenkins Floors and More, third hour sponsor of Sports 56 Mornings.
So reading some more of this article from Ross Dellinger about Project Rudy, some of the things that they outline here and what they would like to do in this thing. Arrange more games between power conference programs by eliminating all games against the Group of Five and FCS opponents, expanding the playoffs and pitting blue blood powers more often against each other. Consolidating the media rights of these 70 schools under one agreement. There's also tier distribution with relegation.
It's interesting. Let me cut you off for 1 second, or interrupt you for 1 second. The other proposal that was out there that we talked about in the last week about the other super conference, this is different. These are two different proposals. The one that had 72 teams and included Memphis. Remember, if I'm not mistaken, they said there would not be relegation, but teams could move up. It's so weird. It's like a lot of similarities or subtle differences. But I don't know if that first group has the, would you say $7 billion backing of this one?
They threw out $9 billion.
$9 billion.
A lot of different things there. So their tier distribution, they say tier one, which would be the top 16 schools, earn per school revenue projections from $130 million by year 4, escalating to $250 million in year 12. Tier 2, which would be the next 22 schools, they project $60 to $110 million.
Jeez.
And Tier 3, the last 32 schools, earn projections of $30 to $60 million.
But will you be able to play in all the majors? That's what I want to know.
They say they offer a variety of ways to determine how to tier the schools. Previous season's results or an aggregate of results over a stretch of seasons could be used. It says the model also features a relegation and promotion system to pave a way for schools to move up and down the tiers. However, one proposed model suggests having 8 permanent members of Tier 1, a move presumably to placate the biggest brands of the sport. So, yes, so you could have
8?
I don't know who those.
Who would those 8 be?
Well, I mean, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Alabama.
Well, who's going to get left out?
Georgia. I mean, you could. There'd be a few that would be fighting maybe for the 7 and 8. And I assume the lowest tier
they can't be relegated because where would they go? You think
I think
whatever's remaining would take them in?
It's just moving between the tiers.
Yes.
So you could start in tier 1 and get pushed down if you're not performing.
So look, again, this is crazy. Money talks an awful lot. Could this happen? Yes. And if it does, it's exactly, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I will. It's exactly what I've been saying. We are going down the avenue where there is going to be the break-off of these teams, call it whatever you want. But in essence, they would be FBS. And what's left, what we know of as the group of 5, unless some are moved into this situation, they would be more of the FCS. And what is now the FCS would be more like Division II. In other words, they drop down a tier.
This is just an interesting note. He talks a lot about the Big Ten and SEC, and they're having their meetings in Nashville this week and their discussions and all that. He says last Friday, I didn't know that. So 2 university presidents, the presidents from West Virginia and Syracuse, authored an open letter in the Chronicle of Higher Education urging their presidential colleagues to take action to avoid the Big Ten and SEC merging into a 36-school super league. Dellinger says,
what kind of action can they take?
That Yahoo Sports obtained a copy of the original letter, and it was signed by 6 university presidents. But 4 of those presidents removed their signatures before publication. Most notably, 1 each from the SEC and the Big Ten.
Wow.
So there was an SEC president and a Big Ten president that were part of this letter, apparently, urging the presidents of the universities to stop the Big Ten and SEC from merging into a 36-school super league.
I wonder what SEC school. Does it begin with a V?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really long article. He goes through a lot of the different things about possibilities with the SEC and Big Ten and what they could be looking at.
And this is Dellinger?
Yeah. And again, he talked about Sankey and Petiti, they still want to do their own thing. They don't want any part of any of this stuff because their whole thing, what they're going to look at it as, they're going to say, okay, if you think you could put together this system that pays eventually $250 million per school, that's all fine and dandy, except for we believe we could do that on our own. We don't need you.
They think they can make $250 million per school?
I guarantee you
by breaking away?
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Why? Because why bring, if it can be done, the schools that the reason they're earning that much money is because of our schools. So why do we need them to do it? We just do it ourselves. If that money's out there for the highest level of college football, we are the highest level of college football. Why do we need to bring in 30 other schools to do it? We just do it on our own.
The only thing I ask, and this will fall on deaf ears, get it done now. For the sake of everybody's
this isn't good.
I know it's not. I know it's not. It's tongue in cheek as I say this, but I'm still going to say it. For everybody, we sit here and we constantly are dealing with speculation and reality as well with changes. We have a new deal that has to be made starting in 2026 for the college football playoff. I would love the landscape to be settled so we know where everything stands. You're going to sign a new deal. It's going to be more than 2 years, whatever the deal is, and then things are going to change again. Why not just sit behind closed doors, all these people, and settle the damn thing? If the SEC and the Big Ten want to break away now. Decide that you're going to break away starting in 2026. Why do this? Why linger? If that's the goal, that's where you're going to eventually go. Why wait and get a new deal approved moving forward from 2026 and beyond? Or if you are seriously considering this super conference, which again doesn't seem like certainly Sankey is, maybe he is, I don't know, but like you said, it doesn't seem like he is. But again, if that's the direction you're going in, then let's find out sooner than later. If, the Florida State Clemson thing, I mean, I know that's we're talking about courts of law there. But would love to have that settled and figure out where they're going to go if they're allowed out of that deal. Because, again, you have constant change, constant turmoil. It hasn't affected the product. The product is still a great product, and we love it. But, my gosh, it's a roller coaster for some of these schools. Where are they going to be? Where is this program going to be? The other thing that needs to be brought up was this news from yesterday. And we were going down this path. Remember, they had to change the language as the judge first said, no, I don't like the way it's written. Go back and adjust it. Schools now have a choice to opt. Oh, wait, where is it? Here it is. A California judge granted preliminary approval of the House settlement. Okay, we were going down that avenue, right? Does not appear that we're going to go to the courts. But a California judge, they're already in the courts, but to trial. A California judge granted preliminary approval of the House settlement. An April final approval hearing is set. The expectation is that schools could begin sharing revenue July 1st. So revenue sharing with their athletes. 3 main parts, according to the story. $2.88 billion in back pay to former athletes. $20 billion in revenue sharing to future athletes. And then the third part is new roster rules and enforcement arm. Schools have a choice to opt out of settlement terms, thus prohibiting them from revenue sharing. Some schools will not be able to do it. It'll be interesting to see where Memphis will fall when it comes to fall as far as revenue sharing is concerned. Debate on future competition between P4 schools and those that opt out. And settlement will require NCAA rule changes. The D1 Council expected to eliminate the national letter of intent. Apply the football redshirt rule, where you can play up to 30% of a fifth season for all athletes with all sports. So we're talking about vast changes coming to collegiate athletics, in particular college football. And yet, while all that's happening, and deciding on who can afford to share revenue and who can't, you have this now that's out there as a proposal.
He also says in here, by the way, that, and he doesn't know whether that will be brought up here this week in Nashville in their meetings, but he believes that the SEC and the Big Ten could very well start looking at a tiered distribution within their conferences.
Well, Vandy just helped themselves. You're going to give us what? We just beat you, man.
According to this, I guess this was some. I assume this was from ESPN. I don't know where they got this, but 18 schools produced 60% of the broadcast viewership over the last 7 years. Within those 18, 6 schools generated a majority of that: Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Texas, and Notre Dame.
Wow.
So, yeah, there's a lot in here. Again, would love to be a fly on the wall of the SEC Big Ten talks this week and exactly what is all discussed in that. But I'm sure there's a lot of other nervous people wondering kind of what they will come out of that with.
Look, I know there's a lot that you have to do to get anything done as far as moving forward with a breakaway or looking at a super conference. But I hope they can come to an agreement of what they want to do so we can have a little stability. That's the same with golf. We've been talking about with LIV, with PIF, right, and the PGA Tour. Yeah, they've been talking. They've been talking for several years now. Nothing has been decided as far as whether they'll come together in the future. And in the meantime, does the product suffer? Well, some would say to certain extents, but not as far as ratings and things of that nature. And certainly college football has not been affected. There is some breaking NFL news. Robert Saleh has been fired by the Jets, by Woody Johnson and that ownership group. Robert Saleh out. Jeff Ulbrich will be the Jets' interim coach. Wow. That has to be all the stories about Aaron Rodgers and Saleh maybe at odds. That has to be it, right?
I don't know.
What are they? 3-2, 2-3? What's their record?
They just had a terrible performance. But
really, that you're going to fire him because of that terrible performance? Let's see. The Jets they're 2-3. They're a game behind first place Buffalo. Yeah, they've underachieved. That was a tough loss to an undefeated team in Minnesota, in London. They fired solid. No, that has to do with a personality conflict with him and Rodgers. It has to be. Again, speculation on my part, but I mean, I've heard the rumors. 5 games in, you're canning him, so Saleh gone. Wow, this has been one hell of a show. When we come back, Mike Seidel, formerly of the Weather Channel, now of Fox News, he's going to give us the down low on everything that's happening with Hurricane Milton. Again, if you missed the news, they have moved the Memphis, South Florida game to Saturday afternoon, 2:30 Central. However, still in Tampa. Folks, if you are a basketball player out there, you could be an adult, or you have children or grandchildren that are basketball players, or you're a coach of a team, and you want players to get the skills they need to become a better athlete, get the coaching they need, use the technology that we now have, then Shoot 360 Memphis is the place for you. They have the new Cordova location open to go along with Collierville. The Cordova location, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation size courts, 3 high school size courts, 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Again, if you're a coach, inquire about having your team over there to go through Shoot 360, to use the courts, to use the bays. They got leagues as well. But for the individuals, it just makes sense. You got somebody in your world, whether, again, it's a son, a daughter, grandson, granddaughter, whatever the case may be, and they're basketball players, this makes a great birthday present, great Christmas present for them. And here's the thing. You don't have to sign a long-term lease, a long-term agreement. 1 month. You can do it for 1 month, try it out. If you like it, and I think you will, then you can sign on monthly. If not, no harm, no foul. How can you do that? You can call them. In Cordova at 901-779-3176. In Collierville, 901-316-5500. Or go online to Shoot 360 Memphis and register now. Sign up for either location or both, Collierville and Cordova. There is nothing like it. There has never been. It's the most modern technology that you can see and use to become a better basketball player, plus one-on-one expert coaching from some of the best. It is Shoot 360 Memphis. The future of basketball training is here at Shoot 360 Memphis. Mike Seidel is next. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 98.5 FM.
Be sure to follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Every once in a while, a new concept comes on the scene and really upsets the old-school apple carts. Well, that's exactly what Genesis Diamonds has done here in Memphis. Hey, it's Eric Hasseltine, and Genesis Diamonds is a fresh, exciting, revolutionary kind of jewelry store that has forever changed the jewelry landscape here in Memphis. Fall is just around the corner. What better time to make that big purchase than right now at Genesis Diamonds? With up to 30 times what you find at other stores in selection, no middleman prices that we've never seen here before, with natural and lab-grown diamonds in all shapes and sizes, Genesis has something for everyone. Plus, free service for life on any purchase and a 120% diamond upgrade guarantee that no other store would dare to offer. Genesis has turned the old school jewelry retail model upside down with lower margins, higher volume, no tricky pricing, no pressure, and no middleman. Get to Genesis Diamonds today and get that diamond purchase taken care of. This is the value leader, and nobody can challenge them here. Check out Genesis Diamonds at Poplar and Perkins Extended. Genesis Diamonds, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Wash your house, wash your office building? Impossible! Not if you call Wilson's Pro Wash. Your house, fence, driveway, warehouse, store, hotel, even cars and trucks can all be squeaky clean and beautiful after pressure washing by Wilson's Pro Wash. Wilson's specializes in cleaning all hard surfaces, concrete, stone, brick, and mortar, even wood and vinyl siding. Then Wilson's can seal their surfaces so they stay looking brand new. Call Wilson's Pro Wash, 901-524-6799, or online at wilsonsprowash.com.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Sports 56 mornings on Sports 56 and 95 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
News that broke about 20 minutes ago. American Conference announcing Memphis and South Florida, instead of playing Friday night, will play Saturday afternoon. But does anybody really believe that they'll still play that game? I wonder what will happen. So why not bring in one of the best in the business to tell us what exactly is going to happen in Florida, although I know with a hurricane, you just never know. But the great Mike Seidel, formerly of the Weather Channel, now of Fox News, joining us on the program. Mike and I go way back to our days in Salisbury, and he joins us now on Sports 56 Mornings. Mike, how are you?
How you doing? You know, back in the days when it was black and white TV. That's how long ago it was. No, I'm just kidding. It was 40 years ago. I mean, 40 years ago.
It's crazy.
Or more.
It's crazy, Mike. It's been that long. I hope you're doing well. Look, I've watched you from afar for a long, long time. And like I said, you are certainly one of the best in the business. And Memphis is flying down to Tampa this weekend to play South Florida, and certainly for all the updates, I said, let me see if I can get Mike on. And I know you're with Fox now, and you're very busy. You just did a live report. All I keep hearing about and reading about is this is one of the strongest hurricanes ever recorded. Just how bad does it look?
Well, it's going to be a very bad storm. The deal is it is going to weaken as it approaches. Now, that doesn't mean a whole lot for the surge, but the lower the winds, the less trees we have down, the less power that goes out. Now, as far as Saturday, the storm's going to be long gone. In fact, by noon Thursday, it'll be off the East Coast. So the storm is gone. The rain is over with. So the question is, does the stadium get impacted? What about power to the stadium? What about the fans? Can they get in? How bad is it going to be inland? They're not going to get the surge there, but I don't think so, not as far as I know. But it's all about the aftermath and what they think is safe for the fans and the teams to get in there and play football. If the stadium's fine, then we're good to go. But then they got to worry about what about the streets. Where I am here in Madeira Beach, south and southwest of Tampa, down on the Gulf Coast in Pinellas County, I mean, there's debris piled up and down the streets from Helene. Remember, Helene it'll be 2 weeks Thursday. And this is uncharted territory to get two major hurricanes impact the same area in less than 2 weeks. I don't know if that's ever happened.
Wow.
But there's debris everywhere. We've got another surge coming in, more wind, and so all this debris is going to float around and become projectiles. So a lot worse aftermath than before, because before there was nothing on the streets. It all was damaged and then came out here after Hurricane Helene. So I think it's really a function of what kind of impact you have at the stadium and on the areas around Tampa as far as getting fans there safely and also the power.
Like you mentioned the winds, I guess as it comes to land, they'll be lessening, but what kind of wind speeds are we talking when this hits Tampa?
I'm almost certain we'll have wind gusts over 100 miles an hour. I think that's a given. It'll be more wind than with Helene. Remember, Helene made a direct direct impact up in the Big Bend. They got the fringe. In this case, was horrible. They got this record surge. As Clearwater Beach was 8.6 feet. That's almost 2 feet above the previous record in recent memory. So this could top that. The Tampa Bay gauges were up in the 7 to 8 range, highest numbers they've seen. So we've got more surge coming in. It could be higher. Hurricane Center forecasting 10 to 15 feet, and that's the highest number they've ever forecast for Tampa Bay. Hopefully it doesn't come to fruition. One thing that would help is the center goes south of Tampa Bay, the surge wouldn't be as bad. We don't know at this point, being more than 36 hours from landfall, where exactly the center is going to come in. But along and to the right of the center is where you have the worst surge. The highest rainfall totals likely will be actually north of the center, and even stronger winds after landfall, because this is interacting with the jet stream and a cold front. And in October, that's what often happens. So the strongest winds inland may actually be some very strong winds on the north side, on the left side as it comes in to late tomorrow night and Thursday. But again, Saturday's weather is going to be great. It's just a matter of what kind of cleanup and how the stadium fares.
Meteorologist Mike Seidel from Fox News joining us here on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest lines. An old friend of mine. Was that your first gig, by the way, in Salisbury?
Yes, it was. June of 1980. You came along a bit later.
Right, 85.
Yeah, I was already down in Greenville. I went down to Greenville in 83 after grad school. So I met you when I was back at home, walking up and down the plaza. I'm like, hey, there's Greg Gaston.
Mike is obviously in Florida covering the storm, Hurricane Milton. Look, you're the expert, I'm not, but it seems weird. Like storms, I always remember hurricanes going up the coast or going from the south up north, like Helene. And now you have one that's kind of going northeast and then it crosses Florida from the Gulf to the Atlantic. Is this strange?
It doesn't happen that often. Well, here in Tampa, it's been since 1911 since they've had a direct hit. We've had direct hits in the Big Bend. In fact, 2 in the past, 13 months. Dahlia last year, and we had Debbie, and then we had the last one, Helene. So actually 3. And then Ian, which was supposed to come up this way, didn't make it this far north. It went into southwest Florida. Fort Myers and Sanibel, those beaches were ransacked. And then we had Charlie, which was also scheduled to come more up towards Tampa, and made a right turn back on the Friday the 13th of August in 2004. So Tampa has been really, really lucky until Helene hit. But again, it wasn't a direct hit. It went by offshore, but that wind just piles the water up into these nooks and crannies, not only Tampa Bay, but you go down to the southern part of the state, southwest part of the state. You've got Charlotte Harbor, you've got Sanibel Island, all these little bays and tributaries, and the water just gets pushed up into those narrow tributaries and forces the water up, and the surge increases. And they're going to have surge down there, too, in Fort Myers, Naples, those areas. Not as bad forecast up here. Down there, I believe it's 5 to 7 as far as I last checked. But still, again, once they're not going to be in the cone, and they're not going to be, well, they won't be in the cone by tomorrow. But it goes to show you, just because you're not in the cone doesn't mean you don't get horrible impacts. Because a lot of people look at the cone, they also look at the black line in the middle. But you shouldn't really focus on the black line because that's not necessarily the exact track, especially when you're talking 2 or 3 days out. The average track error at 4 days is about 150 miles.
Wow. Is there any theories as to why we've had these 2 such powerful ones back to back, basically?
It's just the way, just the way it happens. Actually, this one had its beginnings in the eastern Pacific. It was a tropical depression that crossed Central America into the Bay of Campeche, that area down south, and fired up. And it wasn't, we were watching something else coming in from the east through the Caribbean, and the models grabbed onto that, and then it, poofed away, and it didn't forecast development. So we thought, okay, we're done. And then all of a sudden, Friday, this thing in the southern Gulf just blew up, and the rest is history. So now we have Milton, and hopefully it doesn't get any stronger. they're saying it's going to go back to a Cat 5. We'll see if that happens. But the bottom line, the wind shear is going to start attacking it tomorrow. It's going to push the highest winds lower, but the surge issue is still going to be a big problem. And you're still going to get a lot of wind. Instead of maybe maximum sustained winds of 150, maybe it comes in right now forecast to come in at 125. And when I see that, my basic rule of thumb is if it's coming in with max sustained winds from the Hurricane Center of 125, then expect a gust to 125.
Do you,
which is a lot of wind still.
Mike, do you expect any issues? I guess by Friday everything's clear where that we'll have no problem flying into Tampa?
Assuming the airport's fine. They closed the airport in Tampa at 9 a.m. this morning Eastern, and they'll get that up and running as soon as they know it's safe to fly in there, i.e. they have power and there's no damage to the jetways or any of the terminal buildings. And they could also get some surge there. They're not far from the water, at least in the parking lots. They've had surge in those areas. Even last year when I covered Adalia, right on the causeway at Whiskey Joe's, we had a 4 or 5 foot surge, and that's not far from. That's right off the airport. So they're going to get the airport open as soon as it's safe, and let's keep our fingers crossed that is Thursday. Orlando closes their airport tomorrow morning. They're in better shape. They're farther inland, and they won't get as much wind as the coast. And, of course, they don't have to worry about the surge. But there will be upwards of a foot of rain in that swath from Tampa towards Orlando, up to a foot of rain. So there's going to be flash flooding and a flood watch in the Tampa Bay area till 8 a.m. Thursday morning.
I'm going to assume because the game has been rescheduled for Saturday in Tampa at Raymond James that they're not going to be using Raymond James Stadium as a possible evacuation site for folks if it gets really bad. I don't know if you've heard anything.
No, they usually use schools and buildings, solid buildings, and not stadiums.
Okay.
But, I don't know where they would put the people. I mean, I know when there's a baseball game and there's lightning that they want everybody out of the stands and get under the porticos to get away from the threat of getting hit by lightning. But in this case, I can't imagine them. It doesn't make sense that they would use a stadium for a shelter.
Okay, and then finally, so your most educated guess, being the veteran that you are, and knowing that Mother Nature can do crazy things, your best guess would be that Saturday, 2:30 Central Time, in Tampa for Memphis fans, they'll be able to watch a game between Memphis and South Florida. True?
Well, that maybe we should check the line in Vegas, huh? I mean, it's really about the impact, the aftermath,
right.
and the power, and because the forecast here on Saturday is beautiful. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be in the mid 80s. It's going to have a northeast wind. The humidity is going to be low. Friday night it goes down into the mid 60s. So that cool air that is already in Georgia and Memphis was 46 in North Georgia this morning. Is going to come in. So the weather Friday and Saturday is going to be epic. Thursday is not going to be bad either. There may be a few storms in the morning, but that'll be it, a few showers. But after midday Thursday, it's going to be, high and dry, beautiful October weather in the Tampa Bay area. Just keep an eye on the power outages and the stadium. And, I don't know what the situation there is, but you got to think that a stadium. Well, I don't know. I don't want to go out on a limb about stadiums and power, because then you start getting into that slippery slope of why do they have power and we don't have power 2 blocks away.
Sure.
You know how that goes.
Exactly. Well, listen, we wish nothing but the best for the folks in Florida. I have a sister who lives in Orlando. Everybody be safe down there. Of course, Mike gets in the middle of all this stuff, and he'll bring you all the updates and everything on Fox, again, formerly of the Weather Channel. He's one of the best, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Seidel. Mike, thank you so much. It's been great catching up with you, and really appreciate the insight.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Thanks, Eli. And, Greg, good catching up. Let's not make it another 40-plus years.
Sounds great to me, Mike. Thank you, man. Take care.
Okay, have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye. He's really good, man. Really good at what he does. I think people know who Mike Seidel is. Number 2, I would say, to Jim Cantori, as far as those dudes that go out there and get in harm's way.
I term them crazy people.
He's crazy.
I don't know. I'm not. There's a hurricane. Let's go to it. That's not my. That's my game plan. This is weird to me that they're still trying to play this thing in Tampa, but maybe there's no other options. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting. Again, he said it's going to be a beautiful day, but will there be flooding and the streets are all like we've seen with Helene? Is there going to be power outages? I mean, that's the thing. So you don't really know. You won't really know anything until the after effect of that storm rolling through. So maybe not until Thursday sometime, later Thursday, that you can assess the damage and then figure out, oh, no, we can't do it, or no, we're okay, we can do it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's my thing. Like, you don't know how bad it's going to be. And so, to me, I would rather move it now than on Thursday afternoon and go, oh, no, not going to work. Now we got to find a different place to play it on 2 days' notice.
Well, again, it does appear that the South Florida powers that be were pretty adamant about they can get the game there, they could stage the game there, they could do it safely, and they didn't want to lose a home game. I mean, it just appears that way, at least right now on the surface.
Good luck to them. That's all I can say. By the way, I was reading more on this proposal thing. Apparently in the Project Rudy, apparently they do still, and I don't know how many teams they have in their playoff, but they do have one spot in their playoff for the group of five, for the non-super conference teams.
Who will not play any power conferences, according to this, correct?
Yeah. Now, Dellinger says in here, the reason that most people believe they're doing that, apparently for them to do their model with putting all of this under one television contract, they have to have a change to the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961.
Sure.
So they need Congress to basically change that. And so he says some people view that the having the access for the group of five is a political play, basically, to appease necessary members of Congress.
That's what it sounds like. If there's a congressional act that's still relevant today and it's in play, but how do you determine that? So, again, what would happen in that case, the group of whatever that's left over would stage their own playoff, and the champion moves in now to another playoff? That is weird. That's strange.
It is indeed, but there's a lot of things going on right now in the world of college football. That is for sure. Always a lot of things going on over at Genesis Diamonds with the latest, greatest, hottest, newest stuff that you can find from all the top designers. Beautiful jewelry, whether it be beautiful engagement rings and wedding bands, or maybe a beautiful pair of earrings, or a necklace, or a pendant, or whatever. Pre-owned Rolex watches. They've got massive selection, great prices, and great people to help you pick it out. Can't ask for anything more than that. Selection, price, and great service. You'll get it all at Genesis Diamonds. Poplar and Perkins Extended, that's where you'll find them, Genesis Diamonds.
Talk a little baseball playoffs when we return. This is Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
We are Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
You know, sometimes I wish I had a gun.
Well, I'm armed, but before I bought one, I still went to Top Gun Academy to learn to protect myself without a gun.
How is that possible?
Top Gun's personal protection training. It's perfect if you want to protect yourself without firearms.
I don't know.
And it's perfect if you feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense, because the last thing you really want to do is shoot.
That is scary.
Not at Top Gun. It's very comfortable, and you learn to load, handle, and shoot a handgun safely. Protect yourself. Go to Top Gun Academy. They're at 2770 Witten Road.
Getaway Sports Bar. Best hits secret in town. Open new to 1:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Garden, the creators, SEC NFL Dream Bar over 20 years ago.
smooth and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jenkins Floors and More. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
Welcome back, everyone. 9:45 the time. It's been an eventful show with lots going on in the world of sports and here locally. Of course, we talked earlier about the Grizzlies beating the Mavs last night, but the most important thing is looks like the ankle injury to Ja is not going to be anything serious. Imaging done today is what they had told us. And you had Taylor Jenkins saying it was a minor little tweak of his ankle. And then Ja talked about the fact that, look, it was an exhibition game. I'm paraphrasing here, but it was an exhibition game. If it was a regular season game, he didn't say this, but more than likely I'd stay in the game. But Grizzlies did get their first preseason game done last night in Dallas with a dub, and now they'll host Charlotte on Thursday in their first of two home preseason games. Monday Night Football, Chiefs doubled up the Saints 26-13 to improve to 5-0. And then the Major League Baseball playoffs in the American League Divisional Series. The Royals, big surprise this year in baseball. They keep on keeping on. They beat the Yankees 4-2 at Yankee Stadium. The Royals got all four of their runs in the fourth. And that series now even at 1. Little side note in that series, Eli, Bobby Witt Jr., 0 for 10.
Yeah.
And Aaron Judge, 1 for 7 with a couple of walks.
Yeah, for the Royals to be able to go in and get one of the two with Witt not getting a hit, that's big for them. Salvador Perez, their veteran with the home run to get things started for them last night. But yeah, that's pretty surprising that they would come out of their 1-1 with Witt having no hits.
Scene shifts to Kansas City. They'll play tomorrow, game number 3. The scene also will shift to Detroit tomorrow for game 3 of their series with Cleveland. The Tigers get the whitewash 3-0. So we've had 2 shutouts so far in that series. Cleveland winning game 1 7-0. The Tigers come back and win game 2 3-0. Skubal was unhittable as he normally is. 7 innings, 3 hits, 8 Ks, no runs. And then Kerry Carpenter with that clutch 3-run home run in the top of the 9th off of Clase, the terrific closer for Cleveland. That was a great battle, and Carpenter won that one and won that game for Detroit.
I mean, that for Clase to give up 3 straight hits, including a home run after 2 outs of the 9th inning, is about as unlikely as it could possibly get. I mean, the dude's unhittable. I mean, there are people that could I believe he could be the Cy Young Award winner. That's how good he was this year. He'd only given up 2 home runs all season. Has a .61 earned run average and a .66 whip for the year. And after getting the first 2 out, gives up 2 singles and a 3-run home run. I mean, that is, the Tigers just might be like the team of destiny. I don't know what's going on. That's just insane stuff to happen.
Could you imagine a Royals-Tigers American League Championship Series?
It could happen. Certainly this year.
Did he groove a fastball? Is that what Carpenter hit?
It was a slider.
It was a slider? Did it hang?
He threw 3 straight sliders to him. And
he
Carpenter
just jumped on that.
It's, again, Clase is like virtually unhittable.
Right.
Has been all year. And yet, Yeah, and the first two got the first two out. 2 outs, 9th inning, nobody on. Single, home run off probably the best closer in the game.
Today, the Phillies and the Mets in New York at Citi Field. The series is even at 1. Aaron Nola for Philly. Sean Manaea will go for the New York Metropolitans. Problem for the Phillies will be is when they go to the bullpen, they obviously don't have the last at bat, which worries me. And then the Dodgers and the Padres, Game 3 of their series. The scene shifts to San Diego. Bad blood all around between these two rivals. Michael King, the righty for the Padres, who has been in a nice groove. Walker Buehler for the Dodgers, another right-hander.
Who has not been in a groove.
No, not at all. And the Dodgers already made the announcement Kershaw is out. He's not going to pitch in the postseason. He was ineffective when he did pitch anyway. They have had some issues with the pitching staff, but we know what their hitters can do. So all 4 series, for the first time, right? Even at 1.
I don't know if that's first time or not.
I thought that's what I read. But either way, going to be a lot of good baseball this week to go along with everything that's happening in football. Speaking of football, if you missed it earlier, the New York Jets have fired Coach Robert Saleh after a 2-3 start. 5 games in, 2-3, game out of first. No, they haven't played up to par. But I got to think that this was not a culmination of things and all of a sudden Woody Johnson decided that Saleh can't coach. I think this has to do with a conflict with Aaron Rodgers. It has to. They had the long flight back from London. At least they didn't fire him like on the field after the game.
Apparently he showed up for work today just thinking he was going to work.
Wow.
And walked in and Woody Johnson called him in and said, hey, you're fired.
Wow.
But there's at least they didn't give Aaron Rodgers Nathaniel Hackett as his head coach. At least they didn't go with him as the interim coach here.
Although they got a relationship, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why Nathaniel Hackett's there.
Oh, it's too obvious.
Aaron Rodgers is the guy. That's his guy. Even though he's a terrible offensive coordinator, that's Aaron Rodgers' guy.
That's a good point. It's too obvious if they do that. It's too obvious. You're right. Also, from the college of football landscape, Georgia wide receiver Colby Young arrested early this morning on misdemeanor charges of battery and assault of an unborn child. Misdemeanor. Assaulting an unborn child is a misdemeanor. Okay. The problems continue for Georgia off the field.
So they're building up quite the track record of that.
I mean, I don't mean to laugh, man. You're talking about an unborn child here. Any assault of a woman, anything like that. It's just horrible to read these type of stories. For college football, we have a game tonight. We have a game tonight, a game tomorrow night. We have 3 games on Thursday night and 3 on Friday. There would have been 4, but the Memphis-South Florida game having been moved to Saturday. Tonight is Florida International against Liberty, the Fighting McIntyres, the Mike McIntyres. So Liberty still undefeated at 4-0. They will host FIU. Their last game was canceled because of Helene. Then tomorrow night you got New Mexico State at Jacksonville State. Thursday, Coastal Carolina at James Madison. Middle Tennessee at La Tech. And UTEP at Western Kentucky.
The firing of Saleh, it's the first time in Woody Johnson's 25-year tenure that he has fired a coach during the season.
I want to hear what he has to say. I know what he's going to say. We're underachieving. We're better than this. We're not going anywhere. We're swimming in circles, kind of crap.
There's already one, I think it was Diana Rossini said that, he believes they're built to win now and feels they're underperforming.
Yeah, they are, but we're 5 games in. They're 1 game out of first. I don't know. I'm a little surprised. If you didn't hear this news, Coach Steve Sarkisian of the number 1 ranked Texas Longhorns said Quinn Ewers should be ready to start when number 1 Texas plays number 18 Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry, formerly the Red River Shootout on Saturday in Big D. Arch Manning did a very reputable job in stepping in and starting the last couple of games for Texas. And again, if you missed it, announced by the American Conference, the University of Memphis and South Florida, a game originally scheduled for Friday night, as I thought it would, be moved to Saturday. It is. Still in Tampa. 2:30 Central Time in Tampa, Raymond James Stadium, at least for now.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be what? It was going to be what time Friday night?
It was, what, 6:30? Somewhere in that area?
So they think, 20 hours is going to be the big difference.
Yeah.
20 hours later, problem solved. I don't know.
It all depends on the after effect of a storm. Again, the storm will be long gone, as Mike Seidel told us. It's what does it leave in its wake? That will determine whether or not that city is disrupted for a long time, or whether or not you can turn around and play a football game 72 hours later. Maybe even less.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, again, they haven't even recovered from the one from 2 weeks ago, so.
Sad news from Major League Baseball. Red Sox pitching legend and friend of the show, Louis Tiant, who's been on with us before, has passed away at the age of 83. Terrific pitcher with one of the most unorthodox deliveries in Major League Baseball history. Didn't speak much English, but we had him on the show, and it was nice to have the Hall of Famer, Louis Tiant. So again, the stories just keep rolling in. I guess we'll learn a little bit more about Ja today, but it does not seem like it's anything serious. The Grizzlies back in action Thursday as they will host the Charlotte Hornets. And that will do it for us today here on the program. Again, an incredibly busy show. If you missed any of the show, you want to listen to it, listen to the podcast. We break it down hourly. All you have to do is go to our website, sportsmemphis.com, and check out Sports 56 Mornings, or, of course, any of our shows. Our thanks to Connor O'Gara, Brevin Knight, Terrence Lally from the University of Memphis, and Mike Seidel, meteorologist Mike Seidel, for joining us on the program. Tomorrow, we are scheduled to be joined by Coach Ryan Silverfield at 8:05. We'll have the Tiger Football Report at 7:25. I don't know if things will change now that the game has moved to Saturday. Jerry Palm will be with us tomorrow. DeMichael Cole will be with us. We'll talk about the big basketball doubleheader at FedEx Forum involving the University of Memphis, benefiting St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We'll do that with Chris Boyson. And we start a new weekly segment with Parth Upadhyay on Memphis basketball. Parth, of course, from the Daily Memphian. So another busy show starting bright and early at 7 a.m. Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 is coming up next. For Eli Savoy, for Elijah Seegers, I'm Greg Gaston. Have a great day, everyone.